Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Closing Acumen. Somebody, welcome me to the Closing Acumen. We are here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We are here starting the day. We are on the. We are on today. Welcome to the Closing Acumen. There's a lot happening in Liberia. A lot happening in Liberia. Uh, uh, so we ask you to uh, 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 just make yourself comfortable as you join us today. James Kaiti is the man. He's the first. Uh, 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 we'll be joined by the rest of the guys soon. Today, Jerry Hinnon. Welcome, Jerry. Uh, uh, we'll be joined by Senator uh, uh, Jad today. He will be our special guest today, Representative uh, uh, Clarence Gar from Margini County. He's the chairman of Public Account Committee, currently holding public hearing on 180 audits. So he's going to be here. Welcome, James Schnaffer. Uh, Sarah, welcome, Sarah. Welcome to the Closing Acumen. We'll be joined shortly by a lot of folks. Uh, uh, There's a lot happening in Liberia. I've been told there have been police present at the CDC headquarters, heavy deployment around the CDC headquarters, which I think is kind of odd. I do deplore. Philip Cutty, thank you, Philip, from the UK. Welcome, Philip. I understand there have been major deployment by the Liberia National Police, around, but it's a lot going on. The government and the people of Liberia. So we want to welcome you. When you come in, just share the link, man. Share the link. Thompson B Boss from all the way Australia. Thank you, Thompson. You've been a very faithful man. I can imagine how late it is on your end, and yet still you always make it possible to tune in. But guys, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had a great one. I went to Maryland to one of my little niece uh, graduation. She made her parents very proud. Graduated from Penn State University with a master's degree in epidemiology, and I mean it was just wonderful to see a 23-year-old. So it was great. But a lot of folks graduated. So what we're going to be doing is we want to recognize the graduate. I always tell folks, if your child graduated, hit me out, send us a picture, and we'd love to show that on Facebook, for the achievement. That's a big thing, man. We love to do that. In fact, we are still working on a day on a Sunday where we're going to come back and have talk about mainly educational stuff. Mainly, we're still working on that. Once we been able to find the funds to sponsor the show, we'll come on and we'll talk about educational stuff, a lot of educational stuff. We'll talk about Liberia, the politics of Liberia, and everything that is going on. So we are looking forward to have a great show here tonight, guys. If you are here, I'll share the link. I believe the honorable is in the back. We're going to bring him in probably shortly. Once the other guys come in, we're going to bring him in. But while you make your way, share the link. We're going to talk about all that is happening in Liberia, the audits, the different financial misappropriation and everything else that's happening in Liberia. I mean, it just been a whole lot happening, a whole lot. I mean, God, we see a lot of reports of a lot happening in Liberia. So we ask you to please just make your way before we bring the representative. The other guys will be joining us shortly. Uh, so just keep sharing the show. We are live on Hot FM in Liberia, and we're also live on Truth FM. So we ask that you share the show. We'll soon be starting. Once the guy make the way, God, your guest is already in the back, and you guys are not here. But we'll be resuming shortly, and we're going to be talking about the different audits that's taking place in Liberia. Is that a witch hunt? Is that a is it a transparent audit that is taking place in Liberia? We're going to talk about that. But there's a lot is going on. I heard that there's heavy police presence in parts of Liberia, especially at the CDC headquarters. A lot of police presence. So let's hope. But we're going to have the representative talk to us today. He's I'm sure he's getting ready. So once we have one or two more panelists on, we will begin the show. We're probably not going to wait for the other guys, but it's a lot. It's a lot, and I hope Professor Kennedy will also join us. I mean, since his background is in finance, hope he joins us here tonight. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. In the meantime, let me just read some of the news and what happening in Liberia today. It's a whole lot happening. So let me see what I can grab hold of the news and stuff like that, and just give you a brief overview of some of the newsletter in Liberia. But as you make your way, guys, just share the show. We're still hoping that some other guys our panelists. Hi, Darlington. Darlington Dolope. Welcome, Darlington. Good to see you as well. Uh, Welcome, everybody. We are just awaiting one of the people, tour guy, and others. Yeah, so pretty soon we'll bring on our guests for the night, the representative from Margibi County, uh, Representative Gar. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Uh, Representative Clarence Gar from Margibi County. He is the chairman and public county account committee, and he's currently holding a public hearing on 180 audits in Liberia. So this show is going to be very interesting tonight. So guys, you said no sound. Can you hear me now, Darlington? I think you can now. I was muted, so that's why I was muted. I was taking a phone call, so I was muted from one of our panelists. But yeah, so we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about the current audits and the pros and cons, the transparency of it, and all of that. So we are waiting. Pretty soon we'll begin. So we actually bear with us. But yeah, it's a lot. I understand the CDC headquarters is kind of there were a lot of unprecedented. I don't know why. Why the government is doing that? They have not demonstrated or they have not caused any kind of damage to anything in Monrovia. Why would you take armed men and just surround the city? I mean, the headquarters. I don't know. Maybe somebody will talk to us about that. But Tony George is joining us as well. And once Timlin and Josh come on, we will begin the show. We'll bring the representative on once Timlin come on. But folks, it's just so much here today to actually comprehend. You know, just so much going on in the country. Barca, President Barca, really prepared to to lead. You know, is he leading? I'm up for audit, folks, but is it being done in a transparent way? So we're going to be talking about all of that. Uh, the representative will soon be joining us as soon as the other guys come on. Shortly, I believe Tony is trying to get on, and Tour Guy will be coming on as well. And then we'll begin this all important closing acumen Monday edition of the closing acumen. So welcome, guys. Welcome. Okay, Thompson City sounds great. So we are going to be on the Hot FM, Truth FM, and Real TV as well. Welcome, Ansu. Ansu, good to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody, for having me on. And it's good to be back on the radio after a very, very long weekend. So good to be back here.
Right.
A Monday edition of the closing argument. So good to be back here to serve our people again tonight.
It is. It is good to be back, especially on the Monday. You know, thank you, Ansu. Thank you, O'Neill, Robert, the manager in the back. You know, Henry, all those kids in the back. I want to thank all of you for ensuring that the show is live and we're moving forward. Welcome, Toga. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. It's a pleasure being here.
Good to have you. And we have our special guest. Our guest is in the back, so I was just waiting for you guys to come on, and then our guest is already here, so that we can begin the show. So, Toga, I believe Timlin will join us shortly. But talk about our guest today, Toga. Talk about the guy representative that's going to be coming to talk to us today. Talk about it.
Yes, yes. So you know there has been a lot of concerns over audit reports and the committee that he presides over at the legislature, the House Committee on Public Accounts, is focused on all these audit reports. The GAC, the act that created the GAC talks about their reporting chain. So whenever there is an audit conducted, the GAC sends that report to the legislature and a copy goes to the office of the president. So he's been spinning in the media today that he made some comments that when those audit reports are sent to them, they're supposed to hold public hearings, almost like, a judicial process where all the actors connected to those reports will come together and discuss those issues and all of that. But before actions are taken, actually, especially by the executive, quote unquote, the president. But in the case of the central bank governor, they've not done any public hearing. Yes, the report has been sent to them, but the president was jumping ahead of the entire issue. So he felt that was more like a usurpation of their function. And so he called the president to order on these issues. And you also know that the former central bank governor or the suspended central bank governor has also gone to court almost on similar issue.
Right.
And court can be able to interpret the law. So it's going to be a very good and interesting discussion. I'm hearing about like 108 other audit reports that they are currently looking at. In fact, yes, today Senator Amara Conner wrote that some of those people from the former administration did not appear for the hearings today, for the public hearings. So that's interesting. What happens if these people do not appear? And he could bring us up to speed with some of the issues that have been unfolding since they started these proceedings. So I think it will be a very interesting debate once we can get him on to talk about all of these.
He actually, I see he in the back. I was just waiting for the others to join, but if you just want to introduce him and bring it on, then we can just jump into it, because and start, and then the other guys will join us when coming. He's the representative from Mikey the
Mikey
County.
District 5.
Okay, and he's the chairman on public account, right? Am I right? Yes. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, with all further ado, I'd like to bring on Representative Clarence Gar, the representative for Margibi County, and he's going to come up here and talk to us about all this wahala, as Liberians say, the wahala on all this and everything. So, guys, stay tuned, join us, continue to share the show, and let's begin this. Welcome, Honorable Gar. Welcome to the closing action.
I want to say thank you to Dr. P. Berry, and to also extend a special appreciation to Toga, who contacted us this evening. And I think it is prudent enough that being the chair on public accounts, that will make ourselves available at these critical situations to provide information that is essential to the nation. Again, I want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to use the platform.
Thank you as well. We'd like to welcome you, and of course, we are here with tour guide Alexander Beatty, and as well as our host Tony George. Tony George here, so I guess you met them, or you know these guys. So we'd like to welcome you, honorable, and then I will just turn things to Tony at this time.
Oh, okay. It's good to see you again, Honorable Clarence Gar. You from my home county, Margibi. I'm a Margibi man from Firestone era. I was born and raised there. Yeah.
So now we are seeing one of our citizens.
Anytime you're doing your
But that's in fact, at the Firestone reunion in Minnesota a few weeks ago, Alva Jones, he was the guest speaker. He was there. We all were together there. Alva Jones, he was the guest speaker there. Yeah, we had a good time there. But Margibi is a great county, and we need to all put hands together to make sure that Margibi is second to none, and we are going to work. I mean, people say from he's from Basel area, he's from Orange Grove, but we from the Margibi. But he was raised and born in Margibi, so. But it's good to see you, Honorable Guy, and I want to say thanks for your service to the country and to the county. And we appreciate you accepting this short notice to come and share some light on what's happening in the country. And so we'll get started. First of all, we'll give you the opportunity to give your intro, and then we can get started.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, as chairman of the Justice Committee for Public, it is our responsibility to ensure the independence of one of our key functions is to evaluate and validate the GSC report to our team. And you see, the act that created the General Auditing Commission in 2014, at which time the current president was vice president of the Republic of Liberia, that he signed onto that act in the wisdom of the legislature. Then they saw it prudent that the Auditor General and the Auditing Commissions is a body of the executive, that if the Auditor General did conduct a report, if you see Chris, George, Mr. George,
yeah,
and Toga, I did send you the act creating the GAC. If you read section 4 of the GAC Act, It gave you the procedures. It gave you the procedures when the Auditor General has completed a report. It should be submitted. That report should be submitted to the legislature, and the president is given a copy. If you go further down to section 4G of the Act creating the auditing commission, it also did mandate the legislature upon receipt of the Auditor General report to debate issues of public interest with the presence of the public officials that have been accused or mentioned in those reports. These public hearings are fulfillment of the Act creating the Auditing Commission. That in more cases, if the witnesses provided information that the auditor didn't consider, or at the time of audit, there was some document that was not presented, if prudent enough in the wisdom of the committee, they could consider it. That is the final days of the witness, to give them a due process. Now, if those processes are completed, they are sent to our various chambers. They start from the House of Representatives and go to the Senate for conference. It is that report the executive use to implement by either restitutions, either sending a conscience to the various head of institution if they are still in office, to correct those mentions that maybe are border around internal control. If there are issues about restitutions, they could use a means of either settlement through installment payment or by prosecution. In the case of CBL, we are not speaking for CBL because we know the governor, the suspended governor. But in the letter that is circulated on Facebook and other social media platforms, the president did mention the reason for suspending the governor, stating the reason from the Auditor General report that is before us. And again, if you go to Article 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, they say there are 3 separate branches of government with coordinations. They say no one person in any of these branches of government should perform the function of any branch. If we can give reference in 2005 to 2007, so the bill of impeachment for then Speaker Snow, one of the major bases was, as a speaker, he went to Taiwan to negotiate a rest deal, as tends to be corrected, which was the 4 functions of the executive. That was a violation and led to a colleague raising up to impeachment. Now, we are calling on the president. There are more reports before us. Even there are some members of the cabinet today who has report before us that the committee are looking into. And it was surprising to know that there are reports of a cabinet member. I don't want to be any particular. I don't want to prejudice in any process, any hearing process. But there are reports before us that even have grave issues. Because in audit, there are 4 opinions expressed. The unqualified opinion, who is the best. The unqualified opinion, who is the second, that have most time all around control and other form of negligence. You have the average opinions. The average opinion, it means that the entire thing was messed up. Most time, corruption and mismanagement of funds. Then you have the disclaimer. The disclaimer opinion is an opinion expressed by the auditor that during the period of the audit, there was nothing that he could see to validate the financial information or financial transactions during the period under review. So there are reports from the Auditor General that are before the committee that have disclaimer opinions. that have adverse opinion, and they are all waiting that a committee should have this hearing, validate this report, and send to the president for execution. Now he cannot pick one report and use it as a basis. So we issue a caveat today calling on the president. And we also want to use the media to call on the president that his actions is impeding the function. We impede the function, is impeding the function of the PAC. And we think it is necessary that the president reverse the decision. If he wants to take any other decision, he could use any other reasons, but not the reasons of the Auditor General report.
Okay, Honorable God. But let's get down. First of all, let's see something. What's happened is that people are concerned that the president has been perhaps usurping the function of the legislature. It's like he has no regard for you guys. He has done things in recent times that without recognizing that, like you said, the right. I mean the separation of powers. Okay, it is true that the Auditor General reports to the national legislature. But the president, first of all, he has appointed someone who we're being informed that his nephew to the acting bank governor, and so now. But I just learned that the Supreme Court put a stay order on his action against Governor Talu. But I don't know. But since this happened, what have you guys done? Have you guys informed the president, the speaker have told the president or the pro tem to the president that, look, Mr. President, I think you are usurping our function, and I think your action they just did, they just made suspending the central bank governor is wrong, and I think you should reconsider your action, because as far as we're concerned, the action is still pending, it's still standing. And so, what step have you guys taken to make the president know that you guys are the first branch of government?
Okay, we on our annual vacations, we only work through leadership, and the committee has met. And we have taken decisions to communicate our decisions to the leadership of the legislature and subsequently to the president. And we can tell you that more often during the regular sessions, these information are communicated to plenary. But because we are on break, leadership have to communicate this information. So the leadership will communicate to the president, and subsequently the press bureau we inform the general public of the legislature stand. But again, it is the committee that is charged with responsibility to send the caveat. Like you said, Mr. George, the president in his arrest agenda, he spoke about rules of law.
Yeah.
And the fight against corruption, for which we hear him. But it was surprising that the president is in total violations of his own agenda. Let's look at the $22 million contract that was given on public work.
Yeah.
The budget was before us. We are the legislature approving the budget. The public work minister and the finance minister went ahead to issue a contract worth $22 million, because to issue a contract or to have a procurement plan, the PBCC should have the reliance on what basis the institution is going to issue this contract or the procurement activity. The legal basis on the approved budget. The budget was not approved. The PBCC approved single sourcing. They gave up $22 million contract. If you look at the issue of the machines, many a time people want to say that, oh, the lawmakers don't want. No, we are not saying it means that because we want this to happen, our laws should be violated. If you read section 36 of the PFN law, as the amendment restated in 2019, it is clear the procedures upon which the country can be committed to. The surprising thing, we heard in the air that it was $38 million. To our surprise, people saying that it's in a tune of $80 million plus. How it escalated to $80 million? You said the negotiation is still ongoing. It's a gentleman agreement. But we start to receive the machines. Those machines are with the president picture. They are engraved. presidential project. The deceitful thing that the president ever told the Liberian people through their deputy was not a dam was used. There was tax wave on it. George, Honorable P. Belly, there was tax wave on it. Tax wave on a Liberian people legitimate money that they should have gotten, but you waive it for some benefit that comes to the Liberian. So if you say these machines were given on a friendly basis or gentleman agreement that there was no cost attached to it, then we ask the president that the vendor of these machines should pay the taxes now. Not stopping there, the machines was in the barrack. Who paid the cost of security? Because there are EFF personnel who manning those machines.
Yeah, Representative, let me just interrupt you. I mean, get other guys' chance quickly. But before I go to the guy, my last thing is that yes, but with all of that, we saw the Minister of Defense. She came before the legislature. The public minister came. Minister of State came, and just the minister. They all came before, and the minister was still up portfolio. They came before your August body, and they came, and apparently they made fun of all of you guys because they were all laughing, smiling, and next thing they left. And up to now, I know you guys are on break, but nothing has been heard about it. Even before you learn, but nothing has been heard. We have heard since what happened since they left, and like again, the issue about the $22 million. And in fact, they see lawmakers that were even begging for the Minister of Public Works when he appeared. They even like saying, yeah, he made up. They used some kind of word to use, some error he made, and so forth. So right now, like the issue with the central bank now is I don't know what is it. It's a leadership problem because you say leadership, the one that handling it, but it's a problem. People are concerned that the House leadership is they are perhaps really that's succumbing their function to they're abdicating their function to the executive branch. The president is just having his own way and doing anything he feels like doing to and getting away with it.
So let me just come in there. Let me just address the issues concerning the machines.
Okay.
The Minister of Defense, the Public Minister of State, they are saying the same thing that was written by the president that these negotiations are still ongoing. There have been no deal. But again, we are saying to you, we cannot commit the country because it's a complete violation. There are ways we can commit the country, either by resolutions that the country will pay in subsequent time based upon the arrangement, or by budget appropriations. We have made our point clear for me in presence as Clarence Guy, the violation of the law because the president violated the PPCC. There should have been a competitive bidding processes that lead to the awarding of this contract. So some all have a dissenting opinion that we are not going to vote for it in any form until the president have it removed and the policy. Then we come to the issue of this central bank and governor issue. The suspension occurred on Tuesday. And then the first leadership meeting, because you have to meet in leadership, raise these issues, and leadership have to make a decision. And sincerely, I will speak to the speaker tomorrow. But today I was not in leadership because of the hearing processes that were ongoing. So I will speak to the speaker. But again, we needed to raise it as chair of the committee that are responsible to send a caveat what the public are in and some state of confusion that the legislator is not speaking. But the chair who is responsible for this report has spoken and sent a caveat to the president before the leadership come in. It should be a sign to the legislature of hope that at least members of the legislature are speaking of, because like everyone in the committee are completed this and certified, and they are not happy at all with the president approved. And let me tell you, Mr. P. Belly and George and Toga, Judas again, you will see a lot of lawmakers speaking out, and they will be expressing their opinion. And I can tell you, I may not quote word for word what they will be saying, but their opinions will be descending from the president's decisions.
Okay, P-Body.
Honorable Representative, again, I thank you for joining us. Just listening to what you said and what Tony was sharing as well. the president doesn't regard you guys in the legislature. Apparently, he's taking the law in his own hand. We saw for the National Bank. He brought his nephew in. In fact, I don't want to get into out of politics, but if you look around now, the president has put in as many relatives of his in key positions in government. We've got a list of them I can name. I mean, from the mansion to central bank to offices and all of that. He are putting key. He's just bringing them there. All right. The central bank was created. There was an act that created the central bank in removing the governor and all of that. The president violated, went there because somebody wanted him to get them out. In fact, I'm also hearing within the Unity Party that they are becoming, even their partisans are becoming so nervous and so upset now that the president is only going the tribalistic way, that he's only taking people from his county and bringing them in government. That's exactly what he's doing. He's becoming more tribalistic. And this is something that we knew, we heard about it. But I mean, he is put into the core. There are some other people who had tenure position. They can't take the seats because he says tenure. But places he want to put his relative, he can suspend them and just send them right there, whether it's tenure or not. He will do that. But let me ask you, what do you guys plan? How do you guys plan to engage this president who is violating the law of the central bank, violating? How do you guys plan to proceed? Because apparently he doesn't regard you guys as representative. He does not.
Okay, let me just speak before I come to the question. Let me just speak to the act creating the central. The P-Betty, in the wisdom of the legislature and by international best practices, the independence of the central bank is important. The legislature thought it was, because I was member of the legislature when this law was passed. The current president was also a member of the Senate. The current vice president was a member of the House. Senator Dillon, I guess he was a member of the Senate as well. We passed the law that the central have a total independence. For example, in case the president has the power to suspend the central bank at any time, the central bank governor at any time, or remove him, and he going to elections or having something of crisis, maybe he need money, and he call the central bank governor, please go and print me 2 or 3 billion like Brent dollars and bring it for me. And the central bank governor see it that if this money is printed, it will cause a serious inflation. In his mind, if he don't advise the president and go ahead, it could lead to crisis. Now the central bank governor said no. The minute the president could take him out one day, and he could put someone there like the case you are sharing, so his nephew, and just print the money in essence before you see water flowing. A lost value, the rate go on to 1,000. So the independence of the central bank governor was prudent enough that the legislature gave an independence that the central bank governor should work exclusively of no political interference. There's why we laid the procedures that before the central bank governor be removed, it should be by the deputies of the people, or through a medical recommendation with history that is proving that the governor can no longer perform, or through a vote of no confidence by the board of or by the board of governors. Again, the president has disregarded all of these procedures. Let me just say this on the platform, and to everyone are listening to it. The Constitution provides that there are 3 coordinate branches of government. The war on the line coordinate the government. It means that we should work together in the interest of our people. We are using all of the means to coordinate with the president, to communicate with him. That in our coordinations, it don't show that we are fool. It don't show that we are weak. We're giving the president time if it does not desist and revise most of the decisions, let me say this on this platform: I will put for a bill of impeachment, and if anyone who put for a bill of impeachment before me, I will support it, because the issue of the rule of law should be adhered to. If we say other administrations were in violation, nepotism at the highest, and the Liberian people saw it, that it was not in their interest, and they brought someone who everyone think that 44 years in government, he has all of the experience to lead this country, and he's carrying on the way we are. Get me clear, the issues of fighting corruption, I'm in support 100%, but not at the detriment of the law that govern the country. So again, to answer your question, to summarize it, we will do all of the best to coordinate our functions in communicating with him. But if the president does not desist, there is one option we have to impeach the president.
Now let's talk about all those audits that you have. You have about 100 audits that you are doing a public hearing on. You're having a public hearing on those audits. Have you been surprised by any one of them?
Come again?
Are you shocked by any one of the audits that you have so far that have come your way so far?
There are a lot. There are a lot of audits. Again, like I said from the initial stage, when audits are done, the first thing we look at the opinion expressed by the Auditor General. Again, there are 4 opinions. The unqualified opinion, that is the best opinion that anyone can get, but it's a bit challenging to easily get it. It means you have a clean report. The qualified opinions, it means there are irregularities, control issues, and sometimes mismanagement, not at the grievous state. Maybe I just giving a typical example. Maybe the 5,000 are immaterials based upon the company operation. 10,000 are immaterials. So sometimes the Auditor General sees the performance of the financials and expresses opinions and qualified opinion. Then you have the average opinion. It means that there are a lot of messy things going on there. Most time, a Moses speak out to mismanagement of funds, disrespect of control, and other stuff. Then you have the disclaimer that speaks to there was nothing to authenticate the independence or the performance of audit. Maybe there was no document. It means that there's 90% or most of them is 60 to 70% documents I cannot be showing to know the procedures that led to financials and transactions. So if you see most of the report, you always see them between I've read disclaimer, I've read disclaimer, I've read this. And those opinions, and it really beat our imagination that many presidents who headed public offices were in complete respect to the law and to their own integrity that they are serving. So there are a lot of reports that have those opinions that are before the public account committees.
I'll come back to you. Go ahead. Who next? Toga. Do this.
Yeah, Toga.
Yes. Let me say good evening to Representative God. It's a pleasure having you on. And first of all, I'd like to appreciate you that in the short notice we're able to get you on the show. A lot of people, will be very difficult to get them. I think you're very accessible to your people from all indications. Thank you very much for coming on. I wanted to find out, first of all, I'm hearing there are 108 different audit reports that you people are currently looking at. Am I correct?
There are more than that. So the 108, let me just explain this. For example, the 108 audit report could be consolidations of years. So if you see, like today, the NHA audit hearing we were to do, It was just an institution, but the report came from 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021. So if you look at it, it's a 5-year report. So the 108 report you are talking about, if you disaggregate it, or if you go to look at the number of years in it, those reports are up to approximately between 300 to 400 reports.
So technically, you're looking at over 300 to 400 reports.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Now,
like the central bank audit was done from 2018 to 2023, right?
2018.
So
yeah,
it's 6 years into one report.
Now, the statute of limitation, that we keep hearing people talk about, because I am saying this because there are a lot of people who say, for example, one of your colleagues who is also a member of the committee from the Senate wing, Senator Amara Conan, they said many of these reports did not capture his time as finance minister of the country, and it was well calculated. He stayed out of the country all of these years. When he became senator, then he starts to push now for other people to get audited and all of that. That is the news order because the statute of limitation does not anymore capture Amara Conan. Is that true?
Let me just say this. The PAC don't have the jurisdictions to determine statute of limitations on report. There are 2 reasons for public hearing. One is to name and shame, and 2 is to recommend for prosecutions, restitutions, or measures that may be taken to safeguard the future. The PAC will not be used as a means to shield people. Again, we don't have the jurisdictions to determine which issues fall below statute of limitation, which issues fall in the range of statute of limitation, which issues does not fall in the statute of limitations. All report before us will be heard, and recommendations will be sent to the president. Again,
so are you in any way saying some of these people got to do with Ellen's time, for example? Because Liberians are concerned, thinking that people are just cherry picking these issues. They're only looking at maybe George Weah's administration. Nobody talking about Ellen's administration. So you're talking about over 300 reports you got. Any of these reports got to do with Ellen's time?
So like if you listen to me and Toga said the NHA report, it starts from 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018. So 2016 is from Ellen's second term.
Okay.
If you look at the NTA report, the hearing that should have been done today is 2016 to 2021. So it comes from Ellen's time. Okay. So there are reports that before us, we must have the hearings. That way we can assure you. So sometimes people should leave the perception and leave their own feelings into this. And when the committee announced the hearing, look at the years that are involved. Then you make your decision to say, yeah, if witch hunting is only President Weah time. No. So if we say this hearing is from 2016 to 2021, what it implies? From any time to President Weah time.
Now, but there is no way that you control at the point it reaches the president, for example, what the president does with that. And just to tie in, because I know Lofa Gadokami, on this entire central bank issue, which is very controversial at the moment. There are some reports that the central bank, the central bank governor met with the president, met with the incoming acting, and they all together decided that they wanted him out. They wanted to give him a package and he refused that package. And so they pushed this audit on him. After the audit process, then the president acted. And I don't think it's the first time. Say, for example, there was no audit report even at the LTA when the president already acted. So I don't know where it comes in with the laws that audit reports should come to you and then you should go to the president before the president asks, because there are some patterns here where the president has even acted long before audit are done in these places.
So like again, and Toga, in the case of LTA, we don't question the opinion rendered by the Supreme Court. When the guys were removed or suspended, when they were removed, they ran to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled in their favor. And they were later on suspended, and the Supreme Court interpreted the function of the power of the president. So in this case of the CBL, the cases are different. The law that created the central bank says he can only be removed by impeachment or by a report from a medical doctor that proving that he's incapacitated to function, or by a vote of no confidence by the board of governors. So there are two different instances. But again, the issue of audit, and it just came to my mind. The issue of audit, if you read the GSE Act, audit reports are not for the executive. All audit reports are for the legislature. If you look at the case involving the former finance minister Samuel Toe and other former officials, that was not an audit report. It was a special investigation into a specific transaction. A special investigation into a specific transaction. It was not the entire FIA financials that were done by the LCC. It was just special transactions. They $1 billion, they 500,000, investigate how it came, how it was, who received it. That is far from a financial audit or a compliance audit. There's a full-fledged audit. There's not a special audit. And again, the Auditor General has run out opinions in this report. It comes to the people. There's why I send the act to you. Read the act. Take your time and read it. There's no provision that call for special audit should be sent to the president, not to the executive. The act says the Auditor General report should be submitted to the legislature. Submitted to the legislature, it means that report is for us. So the president lacks jurisdictions on this report. There's no even in it. So the case of Toe and the case of the central bank are two different cases.
If I can go.
Yalufa.
Yeah, welcome, Honorable Clarence. I can't say the last name for some reason, but Honorable Clarence God.
Great to. It is silent, so it's just a GR.
The real person in there, Lufa. The real person in there.
God, okay. God. But great to have you on here. Like Togai rightfully said, very often a lot of your colleagues will back off. I guess the closing argument appears to be the dungeons for them. So, but today, on the very short notice, you accepted to be a part of the conversation today and help our people get the information they deserve. So we want to appreciate you for that. But before we get into the conversation, I want to take this time to just appreciate Team Liberia, the track and field. Fambula actually qualified for the second, I think the second phase of the tournament today. So go Lone Star. And thanks to Fambula and the rest of the team for representing us out there. Great work. We appreciate you guys. And we continue to pray for you guys. With that said, couple of questions, and I want to come from this perspective. It had been years upon years where almost every audit or attempt to prosecute perpetrators of corruption fell flat. Okay, and no one gets prosecuted. Either the process starts and then eventually things fall out. Nobody gets prosecuted. It gets thrown behind closed door. Now, is this because those who are supposed to be in the ranks of power, like you, the legislatures, are just incompetent and don't understand your responsibility, or is it because you don't trust the function of the GAC? And the reason I'm asking this as a start off question is because today we see John Malou gallivanting the social media on the pretense of being the most competent and qualified to conduct audit. But if you are to go back in history, there was a time where a Kenyan auditing firm also referenced his work and performance as being very corrupt. There are historical references to that. Now, as we follow the trends in issue here, we are yet to see anybody get prosecuted. Either the court or the cases are dropped, or there aren't much evidence to all of these things. My question here is in twofold. One, I want to know whether you trust the work of the GAC. Secondly, is it just based on the incompetence of those of you representing us, for which you just cannot prosecute perpetrators of corruption?
So again, let me just answer this question. And I want on this platform, the GAC is doing very good work under the leadership of Kaswa John.
Okay.
I don't doubt his ability. And if I may agree him, I will agree him 100%. If the Auditor General was not effective in his work, I will have said it.
Somebody got cut the dog barking. Go ahead.
I was on the platform. And again, Mr. Julius, I have served this committee, this is my 7 years. I served the committee for 6 years as co-chairman. There was some ambiguity we saw in the laws, and we have been working with other jurisdictions to ensure that we strengthen the laws that govern audit processes. Over the year, the presidents have been using audit report as a means to threaten people. Let's assume that Clarence got served as managing director for NYZ entity, and a report came out and have an adverse opinion, and the PAC did a work and sent it to the president. The president will lay it down. Maybe Clarence guy is a nephew or so. He will lay it down. The day Clarence guy get dissatisfied with certain thing and want to stand up, if you see this, I get it. Yeah, I'll press the key. So we sat down when the amended PFN law was passed by the legislature in 2019. There was panels brought from France and Zimbabwe and a few other countries to compare those jurisdictions and be able to come up with a more robust and stronger PFN regulations. I will send that PFN regulations to those that have that number, to Togai and Mr. George, to share with you. If you read section 122 of the PFN regulation, it mandates the PAC that reports submitted to the president after 90 days. The PAC will track it after 90 days. If there is no outcome of that report, the PAC should proceed and send that report to the regulatory authority for prosecutions. And again, Julius, if you know, conventionally, even when someone committed a crime, the state will look at the cost of prosecuting and say to the president. For example, their case was involving $1 million. And they asked, there's the case. Are you waiting for us to settle it or we go to court? And the president made a commitment, okay, I will pay it, but let's do it into an installment. Under the law, it's acceptable. because what you're going to court for is to get the proceed that the person may have embezzled or misappropriated or mismanaged. Again, if the person is not in the mood to comply with the negotiation, then they proceed to court. Now, again, the PFN regulation now gave us the power as the PAC. After 90 days, we can proceed to court. So going forward, a report is submitted, and after 90 days, there is no outcome. This platform should question the integrity of the head of the PAC. Because this new PFN regulation was signed in December of last year. So again, there were issues bordered on legality.
Okay.
So to move ahead, we needed to solve the issues on legality to give her the power. And to take certain power from certain people, you have to persuade them. You are not going to use force. Now we have persuaded the executive, they have given us that power. So the PFN regulation is clear that after 90 days, the PAC could move and otherwise the SEC to go. So the PAC in our working has been able to closely build a relationship with the Integrity Forum. The Integrity Forum is the GAC, the PPCC, the IA, the FIA, the LITI, the Civil Society, name them. So we have built a relationship with them. We have been advocating in fact to ensure they get support and have independence. The laws, most of their laws provide that they should have financial independence. One of the issues we are stressing on. If you follow our opening ceremony on the 15th of July, we gave the president to mandate the finance minister to give the full financial independence as required by those acts creating those institutions. So when they have the financial independence, it means, like, for example, LCC got additional 900,000 from this budget. So if those money are appropriated and sent to LCC, they don't need to wait for appropriation to proceed to court. So we are doing everything to ensure that the validation of our report cannot just be laid down as a piece that someone can sleep on and get up one day and prosecute one person. So
Thank you.
One thing I'm here going forward, we publish the platform can start to track it. After the 90 days, you call us in 90 days as far as what the stem of the PAC. So the PAC is going to take the report, move to plenary, ask plenary to endorse the decision of PAC in accordance with section 122 of the PFN regulation that we ask LCC now to move to court and prosecute.
Thank you. Quickly, in that regards, and I appreciate the clarity, detailed explanation as far as your functionality and what we should expect going forward. But you may mention the fact that we should continue to follow. Here's my quick recommendation, and I'll ask my second question. Hopefully, going forward, you will consider the idea of making available your website. This is embarrassing to sit in the 21st century to know that lawmakers, you all don't even have a functioning website. If you do, maybe I'm not aware of it, but each of you, your office should have a link to the public website for all lawmakers, so that I shouldn't have to call you to obtain information on your attendance, your participation in session, and all of these things. These are public records. I should not have to go seeking this information. It should be readily available and accessible to the public, so that we can make this information available. And this is where I feel like we are still running behind and crawling on our knees when we have, folks who consider themselves educated. This should be a no-go. But let me
just speak to that and
go ahead. Go ahead.
Again, I want to acknowledge your recommendations and also to feel your dissatisfactions as well. Like, let me just give this example. When I went to Israel, I had the means to visit the Knesset. Mm-hmm. And as you enter the Knesset, you don't need to ask. It was before Netanyahu Benjamin Netanyahu became prime minister again. When you get on the bulletin, you will see all those members of the Knesset that are in the building. As soon as they enter the building, they are automatically registered on the board. So I do agree. We are living in the 21st century. We are living in a digital war. I must admit on this platform that even voting should be done electronically, that the records should hold. That even our arguments and deliberations should be done by a portal that immediately upon the end of the session, it should be transmitted and be put on our website. I do agree with you. But on our leadership, the PAC has built a website that will soon be launched. Our Facebook page is active. Our information have been put there. Our actions not to build a website and make our information available is a violation to the Communication Act that provides that all public offices should make their information available to the public. So we can't be talking to go on, and we can't accept where we fall short. So I want to accept that.
Thank you. So that takes me to my second question then. As of recent, we have noticed the president continuously ignoring the presence of, the legislature, the issue of the yellow machine. I think a couple of my colleagues here spoke to that. I want to reiterate on that because it's very important. The flagrant disregard for the law and purposely having these things done, I think you all should see that as a form of disrespect to the office that you serve and the people that you represent. President Boakai, under the UP government, stole buses from Ghana. They brought it to Liberia. They had to disgracefully return those buses because they were stolen. And I say, and I remain committed to my word, they brought yellow machines, stolen machines to the country under the pretense of following procurement processes. And you all are yet to do anything about it. I continuously hear you and others talking about the possibility of impeachment. Do you even have the spine to impeach President Boakai for his gross disrespect to the public that he promised to serve and other members of his cabinet who have continuously disregarded the law? Do you all have the spine? And if so, if you even think you do, when would the process even start? If you think you had a spine to stand up to President Boakai and his disrespect for the law.
And I thank you, Julius. Again, I want you to go back to our deliberations on the issue of the machines and see the stance of the House of Representatives. When the president wrote that disgraceful communication to the House, call it a legal response to the allegations of him bringing machines, that it was a gentleman agreement, there was no money from the country spent. It was completely a disgrace, right? Mm-hmm. I want you to ask for the video and see, and witness our stand as member.
See, and not to interrupt you though, you guys are really good at displaying for the camera, but when we look at the results of your work, it often falls flat on their soil. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not more concerned about the law kind of display like he did today, showing people he bought furniture and all. Those are not my concern. I am more focused on results-driven efforts. How effective would you guys be in the process if you were to pursue the impeachment of President Boakai for consistently disregarding the law? That's what I want to know. I got the fact that you guys are standing in front of the camera and deliberating on issue. But at the same time, let me just land real quick. At the same time, I want to remind you, while you are deliberating in session, a lot of your colleagues are either on the phone talking, not even paying attention to a lot of you for some of the things that you're talking, and it's noisy. People can barely hear you. That's another thing that hopefully you guys can take into consideration. But go ahead.
Again, and let me just have the friendly conversations with you, Julia.
Thank you.
There are a few questions I want to ask. Sorry if it's being personal. Have you disciplined your child or your children?
All the time.
It is, and one every issue that they have done or every mistake they made, you discipline them.
Well, I discipline them, but not in the same form of disciplinary action.
Very good, very good. That's what I'm saying. We are cataloging the violations of the president.
Okay.
The issue of the yellow machine, the issue of the $22 million and road project given without the national budget,
Mm-hmm.
the removal of the central bank governor, the issue of the removal of the tenure officials.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it says more are sending this signal, communicating them to him.
Okay.
If the president persists with his actions and not willing to change, then we have the moral that he's not willing to cooperate, as provided that they are coordinate break. The constitution is clear that we should coordinate in discharge of our function. It means that one branch should be inferior and one branch superior. So we will communicate with the president and catalog them. It means that when the president and violation of the
I'll call you tomorrow.
we want
Okay, yeah, a conversation. You got mute.
we want to ensure that if bill of impeachment, the bill of impeachment will have substantial and ground with substantial evidences that even the public will see reasons that will take their actions.
Good. Thank you.
Let's call Sylvester. He just came in. Sylvester.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Wavelength, gentlemen. Let me say a wonderful good evening to the honorable lawmaker. I think it's our first time basically interacting. But let me also say thank you to you for the job you do and for the people for us, the Republic of Liberia. On a more serious note, to be a lawmaker in Liberia is a kind of a very Herculean task. Beyond your 4 calendar or 3 basic calendar responsibility, you have an extra constituency load you got onto. And I understand the terrain we come from. And basically, as a political person myself, I do understand that. So I know you go through a lot of. I'm surprised I'm not seeing the grade shooting out, but it will soon start probably in year 3 or 4. But yeah, is it? I'm a little bit concerned about the PAC process. When the PAC got in rear swing at the time with the General Auditing Commission, the GAC, when basically the first public hearing process started, the late Senator Dakwose from Grand Kitman County structured the process of PAC. And then he even, as chair at the time of the PAC, he showed that we had the group of public accountants PAC meetings across in Liberia. The first time was organized in Liberia was in 2012, in May of 2012. And I was a rapporteur at the time in that conference. I can vividly recall then as the protocol manager of the General Auditing Commission. My point is that the fight, because the audit report process, for the audit process is that I heard my friend asking you a question about the audit process and the confidence in the audit issue. From the new executive law to the current 2014 law that established the GAC, says that the Auditor General shall report to the legislature, and then findings, and you will conduct your own independent findings as to how you're going to qualify the report to see the material context in the report before taking action on it. My point is, is the joint committee in one accord in terms of these public hearings? Do we have an issue about some political differences? Let me put it this way first and foremost. Are you guys in one accord in terms of the public hearing process as to how the hearing issue will go? Because the Senate is chaired by Honorable Amara Kone, and the House, you guys with the House, you also on the House perspective. Are you guys in one accord?
Yeah, we have a single agenda. Like again, the both houses committees on PAC will do different functions or extra work in relationship with the budget performances. But when it comes on the audit report, we do it jointly because more parliament will have separate hearings. For example, the Senate may have hearing to the other vote. We may have hearing. But in 90% cases, it may enter into a conference committee. They have opinion on certain things, we have different opinion, and would enter on the same table to reconcile on them. So it was in the wisdom of Senator Dakosa and those members of the committee to have a joint hearing and just single down issues. So we have our red meeting every week, and we draw down our agenda and what we want to achieve. So everyone is on the same path, even to the extent everyone is disappointed in the actions of the president.
Yeah, okay. To follow up with that also, the Public Account Committee is there as a structured committee. We do also have this institution that was supported heavily by the World Bank. I was headed by, at the time, Kezulu, the current head of the Road Fund. Kezulu, Henson Kezulu headed that, is the Sakitara, the public Sakitara. What is the support? Because what the Sakitara did, the Sakitara was a very resource-based institution for the committee. What is the current support from you? I don't know if the World Bank is still heavily supporting the Sakitara, but what is it that you're doing to ensure that Sakitara is ahead of the process to do most of to do the heavy lifting on your behalf, to do the technical analysis of those reports? Are you still liaising with the Sakitara in terms of the function of that institution?
Yes, let me just answer this. Yes, like in the national budget, there was 738,000 appropriated to the Sakitara. Again, let me explain this on this platform. There are many members, the appointment of committees are political decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So in most cases, you will notice that up to 60, 70, 80% of the members on the committee are not financially inclined. So the Sakitara is the one that just the report and put it into a briefing note that can be able to explain that even if the person is not an accountant or a economist, they could be able to see it and read and be able to ask questions.
Yeah.
So the Sakitara is the pillow of the function of the PAC up to today. So our success today, you see, is making real in the country. The Sakitara is on that credit goes to.
Okay.
Yeah. So like for example, the 5-year report, they were able to reduce the 5-year report into a brief and a questionnaire of 5 pages. So they take off the meat of those reports, the essential part, and give it to members. So they give it to members that you read it and be able to ask questions. So even if you're not an accountant, you can be able to ask questions that way and make an impact.
Okay.
Thank you.
Honorable God, your presence here tonight, you're making some breaking news and you have drawn attention of. I see the Unity Party leadership are watching the show now. Even the VP and the minister of state, they're all watching this show. So it's good to have you here. You are making some breaking news here, but like Blofa said, what we will follow this thing through. But let me get to this point. The audit reports. It is clear that the law is clear that the legislature will receive the audit report from the GST and Act. But the issue right now about the audit reports that have been with the indictment so forth, like I said last week, I'm not against indictments. I'm not against audits. I'm all for it. But what do you say to those who are saying there are audit reports that was done by the CDC government that included the UP government, the auditors, the UP government, so on a report from the UP government that they audited, but it was just sitting there. And now since the new government saying that the audit report is being implemented, why are you guys saying that? What happened to the reports from LOCA, from the other institutions that the CDC, the audit was done? Even though they did not follow through, people blame them and say they should have followed through. But what are you guys saying about it too? That the reports that came from the other reports that came from the past administration and before the administration. So what are you guys saying about it too?
So again, I seems to be correct there. Only one other report that the president has tampered with is the CBL report, that he has taken actions based upon the CBL report. But the current administration has not gone to court with any other report.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I previously said, the issues involving former Minister Tue and other former government officials was a special investigation done by the LACC into a specific transactions. They investigated the 1 billion plus that was transferred to FIA and the 500,000. So these were the 2 transactions that were investigated, not a financial audit that was done or a compliance audit upon which they are moving to court.
Okay, we got that. Okay, thanks for that clarity. So now, as you guys are on break right now, you President, on when are you guys returning from your break? Let me just ask.
We're returning the second week, the second week in September.
Okay. Now there are a lot of positions, tender positions that people are acting, and they have yet to be confirmed by the legislature. I mean, the Senate is specific or so on. And all of these things that's hanging, the war crimes code. I heard today that the president has secretly withdrawn the appointment of Jonathan Masakwe, who he appointed as the war crimes code czar. All of these things are happening. What will be the legislature role when you guys return? Like the machine spending, the audit reports that coming up, pending, all this stuff that are happening. Well, it's just going to be because somebody just said, you guys come up on public platform and throw this word impeachment word a lot. Just throw it out a lot, and nothing comes out of it because it comes with your leadership. Do you think you have the votes, the support in the legislature to support what you are saying? Do you think your speaker Kofa will allow you or Fala will allow you to bring such a bill on the floor? We think we'll entertain it because I know the last bill, the speaker seized the bill and said that he wasn't going to make the legislature look somehow by when they said it should send for the president. With all of that happening, what do you think going to happen?
Like again, in the proceedings of the legislature, they are trying the president take and seize of certain legislative instrument, but he does not have the right to make a decision on it. So in the case, our rules are clear. The rule describe the positions of the president when he's appear in the session. And the rules are clear and says that it should be into an executive session. There is no rule forbidding the president from appearing. No. The president can appear but into an executive session.
Okay. Again,
the speaker and the deputy speaker, yeah, they are first and second and more equal, but they are not our bosses. The procedures for impeachment calls for a simple majority. Not simple majority of the House of Representatives, but simple majority as of the time in session. So let's agree that we had a quorum of 36 or 37 persons to start business. And at the end of the day, 15% work or 20% work. In the 15%, simple majority of that 15% vote and it goes to the Senate. It is the Senate that have the hearing processes that have to take and to tell vote on it. So again, we are saying this not as a means to threaten the president, but as a means to caution him that you came on the basis of adhering to the rules of law. For example, I don't want to dive into the CBL audit report again because before us. But if you look at the suspension letter, the president said agreed violations of law. You say violation of law, the central bank governor violated law. Then you violating law to suspend him. How regular is that? You say the man violated law, but you're using the thing, you violating law to suspend him. So again, there are more tender positions that he replaced and put adding to. Once they run to the Supreme Court, it means the legislature cannot have any process into it a year after. Any matter that is before the court, we cannot dive into it. So once before the court now, it means that the court have to run an opinion, and we are out of it. It's a contempt to the court if it before the court and you raise it out to say you want to have hearing to the court and hold you in contempt.
Peabody.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable, and thank you again for taking the time and being with us. The issue of corruption, as I said earlier, I'm for audit. I mean, I love those who committed act of corruption of investing government money be brought to justice. But it has been 6 months since this government been in power. We have seen massive looting from different areas. Almost every month there is some kind of money or some kind of violation. Do you think the president will listen to you guys? Do you think the president regard you as even lawmakers? Do you think he regard you also? Because if he's violating things, if he's doing things that it's like I see like an overlapping of responsibility here, because he's taking all the law into his own hand. It seems like we are in some kind of authoritarian or whatever we're in because the president is just doing anything he feels like doing and go after doing it. So how you got plenty to hold together to really resist this president for violating all the laws here? Started from, how you got plenty to hold him accountable?
So, like we said, we use the theater. The first procedure, we use the theater, flag these issues, express our opinion, and we take a vote on it and communicate with the president and put him on record. We depending on the wisdom of every member in the legislature or members who have the same mind of taking a higher decision. The Constitution is clear. The Constitution gives us the power, the highest power we can have on the president to impeach him. So we will communicate our information to him. Let me just say this, Peabody. The fact remains that even one or two members have the moral ground to raise a bill of impeachment and put it on the legislative floor. Even majority members resist it. It shows that there are members who have seen the incompetency of the president, or they are seeing the gross violations of the president to the rules of law. So again, we will lobby with our colleagues. The issues that are out of audit, like we said, the audit report will be conducted. Today, some of us have the moral ground to sit. Let me announce that I'm a member of the Coalition of Democratic Teams. I won my both elections on the CDC ticket. But like I said, and let me say this on the platform, those that have report before us, we are not going to treat this report on the basis of partisanship. We are going to treat this report or this hearing as being patriotic to the nations. We're sending singular that the report of the UP government that will be brought before us will be treated the same way. If we send this recommendation to the president and the president don't act in 90 days, let me re-emphasize that the PAC is authorized by the PFN regulations section 122 and call that report, endorse the LACC to move directly now to court. There's why the legislature in its wisdom gave all of the anti-graft institutional positions. So if you see the LACC chair was appointed by former President Weah, he has not been tampered with. The GSC boss was appointed by former President Weah, he has not been tampered with. The IAA, the PBCC, the LITI, the FIA was involved into a scandal. It was on that basis he was suspended. So they have not tampered with them. So their independence are very strong, and they are tenure I adhere to. So when the legislature commit them that in fulfillment of section 122 of the PFN regulation, we are mandating you now to act on this report, either go to court or ask for restitution of the witness, or the accusers are waiting to sit and settle and give a payment plan with a guarantee that this payment will be made in time. You do the settlement and report to the legislature this time coming around. So there are laws on the book that give us the right to move directly now.
Yeah, but we've seen different violations. For example, the one at the central bank, where the president was writing the CBL government. I don't know what facilitating different transactions, banking assets and all of that. We see the yellow machine came and probably have died down. Is the speaker working with you guys? Do you think if you proffer a bill, is the speaker willing to bring it to the table? Because what we've seen here is, man, we don't care. They just talk. The executive said they just talk. Let them talk, and we'll do what we want to do. They can't do nothing, because there are people who are saying, "Oh yeah, a lot of your colleagues will cooperate with the president because some of you guys have not gotten your pay, some of you guys have not gotten your car." So there's no way you'll resist the president, even if he's violating all the laws. How you guys plan to go about doing
that? The speaker, like I said, the speaker just have the power to preside and ensure that there should be complete control in the chamber as of the time of session. But the speaker don't have the right to make decisions on any bill. So those who have the intentions, who may be thinking in that direction, we have to lobby with their colleagues. Again, that the people, we could be from the same party, we could be blood brothers. There are issues we may differ on. There are times I have to convince you why you should support me in certain instances. So if, for example, if I'm going to create a bill of impeachment, I have to lobby my colleagues to ensure that I have majority members who will support this bill. So you have to lobby the floor. With the exception of impeachment bill, every time you brought something on the floor, you have to lobby the floor to ensure that you have support on the floor. Because if people don't understand the intent of your communications, the intent of the bill, some people will not support it. And if I'm sitting in a chamber and maybe need one lawmaker came and they put a communication on the floor, I have not read that communication, I have not read the bill, I have not understand anything about the bill, and he asked me to vote for the bill, I would definitely ask, maybe I will abstain, ask for the copy. This is why in legislative proceeding, they have 3 readings of the bill. The first reading is done when the bill is introduced. Copies are shared. The second readings are done. The recommendation from the committee is deliberated on. The third reading is the final reading, and it passed into law. So you have to lobby with your colleagues. Like I said again, and I will emphasize on, not every single thing that would just pop for a bill of impeachment, the Liberian people see how to be a joker. But we will put the president on record that most of the violations have been communicated to him. We are asking that he desists from this habit. Going forward, if he don't desist, we record him and we come up with the decision that the Constitution provides. The only thing we can do to the president, as provided by the Constitution, we cannot hold the president tied. We cannot hold the president and beat him. The power that is invested in him as deputy of the people is to ensure that we remove him from office by impeaching him and send it to the Senate and lobby with the Senate to ensure that he removed from office. So that's the last solution we have.
All right.
Yes, thank you. So if I'm listening well, first of all, you're saying the action of the president to suspend the central bank governor was completely out of order. It's not what the act calls for. And you think that is a violation. But I'm also concerned with the issue of acting. There has been an issue that has been continuously raised that in instances where, the president wants to change certain people and stuff like that, he will put somebody in their stead. but then they normally would take somebody from outside completely. And that person will act like, I think someone was saying the other day, Governor Talu should just forget his owner, because the person who they put in his stand out to act is just going to act now for the end of this tenure, or maybe the end of the government. It's almost normal. And it's my understanding that there was a specific time that Senator Finley began to propose something about how long can someone act for. How long? Because I think it started from this Mary Broad's era, when the president brought in Mary Broad and said Mary Broad will be acting as mayor of the city of Monrovia for a very long time. She acted for. I don't know how far that bill is gone, and I don't know whether the legislature is doing something.
There's a law currently still on the board. The 1972 executive law gives the president the right to appoint for the period of just 8 months. If that period elapsed, the president can reappoint the president. There's something in the law for that. There's something in the law for that. But they're trying to say yes. There's something in the law for that.
So I don't know whether there's something that needs to be done about this acting thing, and why should people come from outside? And take for example, if you are suspending somebody from an entity, I thought somebody within that entity should take the person's stay in the meantime. But to bring somebody completely from outside to come and act, I keep wondering about that. Is there something that the legislature can look around and see how we can fix this, so we don't give the president this sort of imperial, presidential mentality?
So, sorry, AEC, just go. They're trying to put a generator on.
Okay.
Again, the president, his actions is what we term to be a misuse or abuse of public office and power. The issues that has to do with the acting positions, persistent acting positions, I forget about his name, but like the gentleman just said, the 1978 executive law. So the president will clearly put the president in office to act. After like 8 months, he reappoint the president. But I think the law that was offered by our colleagues from the Senate, Senator Finney, was to say if the president is appointed for 8 months, and after the 8 months, if the Senate don't confirm, or the president is not appointed or nominated to the position to be confirmed by the Senate, that president should not be re-nominated to act for that position. So let's assume Clarence Guy was appointed to act as then governor. After 8 months, if he's not sent to the Senate for confirmation or he failed confirmation, he cannot be reappointed to that position to act. Because other than that, one day the country you there have social acting minister, and for which we will be bad. Because the laws are clear that the president have the power to appoint, but in consultation with the Senate is one of the chambers of the deputies of the people. So they go there to answer to the people what they are going to do in the interest of the people. So if you have people acting that are not going to meet the deputy of the people to give their plan and visions for the institution they are going to hear, is a form of cajoling the law and cajoling public offices to ensure people mismanage their functions. And we have been waiting for law to ensure that this bill is passed by the Senate and sent to us, that we can look at it if necessary amendment. Again, let me not miss my words. The president's actions are completely disappointing. And if I may advise the president today, I will tell him his legal advisor is not doing well for him at all. His legal advisor is not doing well for him. And if they need an advisor, a more experienced president who may not use a perception or a feeling or emotions to take action, but to rather read the law and give a professional and legal opinion to the president that he should be led by. Because look for example, the issue of the machine at North, the removing or turning positions out of North, the issue of the roof, the 22 million at North, you move the governor again at North. So everything is just North. Some of all will not come on the platform, go to public media platforms to argue that the president, a procedure of prosecuting former Minister Tuer and other people are illegal. No, the president have the jurisdictions on that one because there was an investigation done by LCC, and LCC have the prosecutory power to prosecute people that they found liable for corruption. So we cannot argue the power of the LCC into the case involving Tuer. But in the issue of involving Governor Tanu, if we were to suspend him, say for administrative reasons, we were going to be arguing on the basis of the law that created them. But if you suspending him and certain reasons from the Auditor General report that is not before you, that is before us, you are usurping our function, and there's tantamount to impeachment. There's abuse of public office. There's misuse of power. So this is why we caution the president today and call on him to desist and stop and revert his actions, or he will bother with strong resistance from the legislature.
And then I'm getting some reports that some of the guys are not coming forth. I mean, some of the people you invite, for these public hearings, some of the people that are already indicted in some of these audit reports, they're not coming forth. So what happens in this instance?
So we like I said, we have been working with other jurisdictions. The PAC Secretariat, we want to make it a full autonomous. We are crafting a bill to pass on and give a full autonomy to the PAC Secretariat. If you notice this hearing, or if you follow it, you will notice that the LCC will always have a representation. The last few hearings, the LCC chair were there, along with some of our officials. Today, the chief investigator of the LCC was there. Now, we have come up with a conclusion. The committee will design a path vote. If we wrote an F officials of government to appear, maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 times that is deemed necessary for the committee to get due process, and the president is not making themselves available, the committee will have no option but to attach those communications that were sent to the official and hold a GSC report at LA's and send it directly to the LCC.
Hello? Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah, their time because to go finish right. Yeah.
Okay. So quick, just trying to just make some clarity here, Representative Gah. You clearly stated earlier that your frown is not at the pursuit of former finance minister Tuer, because it is within the jurisdictions of the LCC, and that part of it is a line item that was purposely ignored by the former finance minister. So you're okay with it, and you want the law to be the law. We should support. Is that correct?
Like I said, the LCC conducted a special investigation into 2 transactions.
Right.
That at the conclusion of their investigation, they found substantial evidences per their investigation that leads to corruption. So the prosecute based upon those specific transactions, not on other reports.
Okay, great.
Not
so.
Other reports.
Thank you. And I'm rarely fond of complimenting people when, especially here with the closing argument. But I must say to you, the fact that I think you're looking in the right direction, right? You're not looking to serve your people based on partisanship or because you're part of the CDC. So when the pursuit Tuer, then you stand up against the law. You're saying, no, let the law be the law. And those who are perpetrators of corruption, let them be prosecuted. Now, with that said, it is alleged that Minister Grigsby is a part of a little clandestine act, but bringing in an overnight created Ghanaian firm to carry on road construction. Now, consider this: $22 million just went in thin air. As a matter of fact, I thought to play the video for you, and I will play that video for you as well. I just received video from Lo-Fi County, of course. Me being from Lo-Fi, I was very anxious to watch the video. It was embarrassing to see that we wasted $22 million on muddy road construction, rehabilitation of muddy roads. Okay. Not only was it from Lo-Fi County, I looked at another video that was sent towards the southeastern part of Liberia. Again, embarrassing. $22 million wasted for whatever reason. Nobody can tell us. We cannot see the result of the work that the $22 million was actually allocated to. No job creation, nothing of that nature. And now we are hearing that again. I want to be very clear on this part of it. Minister Sylvester Grisby overnight brought in allegedly a Ghanaian road construction firm to carry on projects in Liberia. Can you say here tonight that you and your colleagues will investigate this, and if found truth, that you will go after the president's office? Because again, Minister Grisby is a part of the president's office. This ties into his gross disrespect for the law and purposely disrespecting you, the representatives of the people.
Julius, tomorrow I will try to share some information with Toga.
Okay.
I think I share on the platform. The PAC don't functions in regards of relationship or partisanship.
Okay.
We do our work void of any form of biasness. Grisby is one of the biggest problems the government had. When this administration came into office, the president announced 3 audits to be done: the central bank, the EPS, and out of the NSA. Grisby went without the knowledge of the president and decommissioned the NSA audit. When we were communicated to, we invited him. There are traces of communication we have sent to him. Out of fear and know the nature of what he has done. Because if the GSC commission an audit, no one can decommission the audit, only the legislature. We invited him several times to give reasons. Like I said, I will give the traces of communications. He didn't appear, and we forward a communication to the legislature, to plenary, informing them of the disrespect they have impeded our functions. We invited him, and he sent an excuse due to the ceremony of those ambassadors that came. So it's still pending. More upon that, there are communications in our possessions. The liquidation of the SRB bank was authorized by Grisby again. $8 million went in thin air. For what reasons? That the government liquidated the bank with $8 million of the people money. The people money. There's no trace that the money was given to SRB with the intent of repayment, was given free of charge. The same Grisby again is involved into the yellow machine deal. There are many controversies surrounding him. Like we said, there are people that Grisby is. I feel that he cares less about what Liberia will be in the next 20 years, because if he will be living in 20 years, he will just be lying down with you. Yeah, it's sincere. 80, let's be friends. 80 years, even at 30 years to my age, I will still be around. You add 40 years to my age, I will not still be the age of Grisby. So I'm conscious enough of what I do today for the future. But 80-year-old man say, after 20 years, we'll leave it with the children, how they manage their business. So
Mr. Guy, I'm sorry. Let me just quickly interrupt here. That if that is your supporting comment then both Minister Grisby and the current president, who are both age mates, definitely don't care about Liberia because
they are not age mates. Grisby is not in the 80s. That's incorrect.
Okay, he referenced
For Grisby, almost 70.
Yeah, but he's not in the 80s.
Okay. So in other words, what you want to say here, then? Okay, so that means the president is even more careless about the future of the country because of his age going forward, based on what, and you cannot distance the president from anything that Minister Grisby carried on in his office. I just wanted to highlight that part. President Boycott is fully aware of every step taken in his office.
Right.
And it is not without his consent that Grisby carry on anything. And I want to be clear on this. I don't want to be a part of the attack on Minister Grisby by some individuals who have been found of felony in other country and feel like they don't have access to Minister Grisby because they ran campaign during the campaign time and they no longer have connection to the president. So, but I'm only asking this question in the interest of Liberians, and I am not part of their malicious act to attack him because they don't have that connection with him. I just thought to make that clarity. Thank you.
So you want to let me make this clarity what I say in Grisby and being particular. If the president authorized the commission order, he signed onto the letter and sent to the GAC to decommission the audit. Is not Grisby's signature. It's the president's signature. So if Grisby signed, I'm holding him liable because he's the signatory to the communication I decommissioned the audit.
No. Honorable, let's do this, and I'm not doing this in the name of defending whatsoever. Let's be very frank here, and it's good that the platform be prepared to serve this to the public. Now, the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff to the President is clear. The Executive Law of 1972 is very clear as to who the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs is. He said he shall perform. No, Toga, start laughing. I'm coming, Honorable. That's Executive Law passed by the legislature. It is explicit there. He shall perform act on behalf of the President. He shall perform act on behalf of the president. The chief of staff to the president. He shall execute.
So every time he asks it means that the president acting. So he does not take.
Is that the president acquiesces his action. The president acquiesces his action. So I would use this time, send my time to come. I think that they may just understand. So my time. Yes, sir. Yeah, Honorable.
I just want to take the quotations from you.
Yeah.
If you add and come back again with that quotation, I want to quote you exactly.
I'm saying the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff to the President of the Republic of Liberia can perform action on behalf of the President. Meaning the President can instruct him to perform act that will be considered the President's action. That when the president acquiesces, whatsoever the president will acquiesce, he can execute instruction from the president. That's the function of the Minister of State. He can. That's what. Go ahead.
So if in acting in acquisition of the president, he cannot go beyond his bound. For example,
he's not going beyond his bound. For instance, he wrote a letter to decommission. Go ahead.
When the president was suspending the LTA and board of commissioners,
yes,
the president wrote and signed by himself. But before the suspension, Grisby has written them and referred to the chair as the outgoing chair. Now, decision out of the office of the president, because he's the chief of staff of the president. He runs the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs.
Yes.
But communications going out to take major decisions on behalf of the president cannot be signed by him. Like I have my chief of office staff. He runs the day-to-day affair. The chief of office staff and the administrative assistant runs the day-to-day affair of the office. But to communicate on behalf of the office, it should be under my signature. committing the
It's not
office.
necessarily, Honorable, no, I beg to differ. It's not necessarily, now listen, he can be designated by the president to act in their capacity. And that's the process. And it is not, he's doing it on his own volition. He's doing it in accordance with the executive law of 1972.
When the president's in country, I want us to reference. I want us to reference. We take our. I mean, we study or practice our democracy in America.
Mm-hmm.
The Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Have there been any time the president in country and the Secretary of State wrote a head of institution taking a decision on behalf of the president to that head of institution?
No, I don't want to do that comparison because there are two separate constitutional democracy, right?
Yeah,
so
but
we are a sovereign nation, and America is a sovereign nation. It's not everything that we do is so we are a sovereign country also. And note this, Honorable, you pass the less when I'm telling you the legislature.
I agree.
Yeah, and giving those things. Yes, and on the basis of that. So, and that's why the Constitution is clear. So Article 50 of the Constitution said the executive power of the Republic lies in the power of the president. He shall be the commander-in-chief, head of government, and what? President of the Republic. So he can.
You support the argument that he's the power of the executive is invested in him.
That's what I'm coming to. Then the authority that appoint the chief of staff to the president. That's what it says the Minister of State. It's the Minister of State of Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff to the President of the Republic. And they said he shall conduct affairs on behalf of the President.
Of the President, but he cannot act on behalf of the President.
No, he acted on behalf. The President can instruct him to do.
No,
the President
can
write letter to do decommission.
No,
he can perform on behalf of the President.
But people, so Pee-wee. So Pee-wee.
No, we have the more than the people that I agree more, but we need a credit card thing.
But Pee-wee, I did agree with you, Pee-wee, because the Minister of State is not a dean of the cabinet. So why?
No. The dean of the cabinet is not as powerful as compared to the Minister of State.
That's why most of the time. That's why even most of the time. The first paragraph indicate that. You say a directive.
Guys, let's do it one at a time. Guys, let's do it one at a time.
Other people got to talk, and we can't keep still on this stuff.
No, I have this one. That's my time. Let me quickly end, and we move on. Here's what I was trying to say. And we talked something about this issue of why the president took decision at the central bank and other areas, and the particular thing why he was writing a letter on behalf of the president. I believe, and I'm clear here. I read the report. I just concluded reading the report last night on the audit report. I guess, Honorable Guy, you went through the report, the central bank report. It's not a good report coming from the GSE. And I said it last night in the play. I got implicit confidence in the General Auditing Commission. The way they conduct the audit, the mechanism, the audit process, the audit proceedings, and the professionalism attached to the audit. I trust the DSC. With the report coming from the CBL, it's damaging. The president needed to take some very clearly, expeditiously move into the place and safeguard the system. The reason why the president did it was because of malfeasance and non-feasance of voting in that institution. He didn't expect, that's why he's the head of state, head of government. The president needed to take some speeded action to bring to halt these things unfolding. It's part of the reason why the president will now wait for impeachment to unfold on Boga to take this kind. Look at what unfolded there. You get people taking 300,000 on check, on counter. People taking $1 million on counter.
So Pee-wee, Pee-wee.
We cannot allow these things to happen. The president needs to go in expeditiously and take some action to save that institution.
Pee-wee,
I think Pee-wee just trying to look for some kind of.
Let me come in.
Some kind of what that everybody.
Pee-wee.
Yes, we need to move in to take some action.
We always need somebody in the Pee-wee around. We need somebody in the Pee-wee around.
It's not like need me around. It's not that. That's the
Guys, are you guys gonna let your guests to respond?
Yeah, you go ahead. Nobody
Yes,
don't like this, so you won't bug me now also. But you're not bugging me. I'm far from you. Where he respond?
No,
Go ahead.
I won't go and definitely into discussing the audit report that's before us. Again, we cannot discuss the audit report before the hearing. But I want you to go back. If you read the reports, read the Auditor General positions, and read the management response, and read the Auditor General final positions. Those will form a basis for making your decision. Let me say this, on that specific transaction, go back and read the Auditor General response, position, read management's response, and read the Auditor General position, final position. Sometimes we don't just look at the audit and say this. When you look at the opinion raised, the observation raised by the auditor and the Auditor General or the auditors, read the responses from management and read the final opinion on that particular issue by the auditor. It will form a basis upon which you can make an argument. Again, when we have had the hearing into that report, I will make myself available to dive into it. But let me caution you, Mr. Pee-wee, there are procedures laid down. That the president cannot. Let's assume that one of the justices were involved into corruption, were involved into rape, or so on. And the justices, can he be suspended by the president to safeguard the judiciary branch? Can he be suspended by the Chief Justice? I would say to you, no. There are procedures laid down. So we cannot say because the president have the executive power. The same executive were the one who proposed that law. Today, if we don't give the central bank independence, it's not about Tanu. President Boubacar Tanu will come to an end one day. Another person will take over. It's not about today. But if the president, this particular law was passed in 2020, the issues involving the 16 billion, the uncontrollable printing of currency, the devaluation of the Liberian dollars, and the best practices conventionally, it formed the basis of the legislature, for the legislature to pass the law. Tomorrow, let's forget about just the issue of Tanu today, the other report. But he put a nephew there. If he has control of a nephew, he could tell a nephew tomorrow print $10 billion. They could notice the legislature the same way they knowing the legislature today. And they could print that before you know the money is in the country and nothing is done. So the central bank should have total independence that the president can appoint, but he cannot have political interference into the central bank activity. At default on that, there are procedures laid down. The board of governors who pass a vote of no confidence and communicate that to the president, and upon the vote of no confidence, the president could remove the governor. Again, in everything we do in life, mostly in political seats, you have to lobby. You have the board of governors. But let act in conformity with the law. Not because of perception, not because of something. And let me caution you and leave it with you. A compliance audit is different from a financial audit. I won't dive into it, but subsequently, at the end of our hearing, we will come and explain, because when we have run our opinions, we will come and explain on what basis these reports were held and how we validated it, how we came up with these opinions. But before us, I cannot dive into the nitty-gritty of the report. I will hold on to this, but let me just raise this concern that a compliance audit is different from a financial audit.
Quickly before you go, I do understand this very clearly. I know the difference between all of the different kind of audit, but I'll be open to having a very wonderful discussion with you on that process. And I stand by what I said, and I believe that the process that was unfolding, the decision very clear was because of that unfolded. But I'll be waiting to engage you on.
Oh, people, no amount of
Professor. Let's bring in Professor Kennedy. Let him
yeah. So I've been following the show, and I want to play the devil's advocate, right? I want to kind of argue from the United Party's point of view to see if the argument will hold water, if it will stand up in court. So, Honorable God, I really appreciate your explanations today, but let me ask you just a couple of questions. Is the central bank a state-owned agency?
Yeah, it's owned by the Republic of Liberia.
Okay.
But to control the monetary policy.
Right. So as a state-owned agency, is there a conflict between the act that created the central bank and the Constitution? Because Article 56 of the Constitution gives the president the power to remove people at his pleasure. So is there a conflict between the act that created the central bank and the Constitution? Do you think there's a conflict? Or you think the act that created the central bank is greater than the Constitution? What do you think?
The Constitution, I may not be definite to the provision of the Constitution, but the Constitution also gives the legislature the power to enact law for the governor of the state. Now, government continuity, Mr. P, we just quoted the executive law that we passed as legislature. Now, this particular act was signed by the executive, succumbing some of their power or some of their functions, that this should be independent, that the president cannot just remove them.
So let me say this. So
I
understand, I know where you're going, but that's not you're answering the question I'm not asking. And I just want to kind of keep you in line in terms of what I'm asking. Because the act that created the central bank is actually crafted after the Federal Reserve Bank Act that was created in the US back in 1913. But the difference is the Federal Reserve banks over in New York, it's about 12 of them, they're actually also privately owned by the banks. They're like a private entity, they're privately owned by the banks. Unlike in Liberia, where you just said the central bank is state-owned, and Article 56 of the Constitution gives the president the power to remove people who's working in his or her pleasure, right? So even if the central banks access one thing, the supremacy clause that is within the Constitution will override the act of the central bank. Would you agree with that?
I don't agree with that. On the basis,
so the Constitution is lower than the act that created the central bank?
I come in. On the basis of the recent opinion expressed by the Supreme Court into the LTA and the government of Liberia, considering the government to adhere to the tenure positions that the legislature have the constitutional mandate to create laws to govern the country. Read the opinions of the Supreme Court. So that opinion formed the basis of my argument that attending positions, what is put in the law, should be adhered to. Go back and read the opinions between the LTA and the Republic of Liberia. That if you adhere to that, so adhering to the tenure position, adhering to the law that created in those institutions, is to ensure that everything that is written that was signed by the same executive should be adhered to in all totality.
So guys, I appreciate you just giving me a little bit of leeway because I know you all have asked your questions, but I really want to understand something. So how long does it take to impeach someone? I know we just had a cabinet Jenny impeachment. How long did that process take?
It depending on the concern or the lobbying you may do. So
it takes a few months, right? It takes a few months.
Yes.
Yeah. So considering it takes a few months, right? Imagine you have a central bank governor that controls monetary policy, right? Because the central bank governor can move interest rates and have a total impact on the entire economy. Are you saying that it's okay for a central bank governor who does not have a financial or economic background to be in place while an impeachment is going on, and he or she is making decisions that will impact the entire country? He should sit in there and not be removed until an impeachment goes through? Is that what you're arguing? So the rest of the country will suffer because we have to wait for impeachment to go through because we have a central bank governor? And again, look, I'm from the old school. I totally agree in terms of the separation of the central bank has to remain independent, right? I've been teaching this stuff for over a decade. But I'm trying to understand because there seems to be a conflict between the act that created the central bank in Liberia and the Constitution. So the president, you will agree, can remove a central bank governor for cause. But then also you would agree that it has to go through an impeachment process because the way the act is written, But the difference between the way how the act is written in Liberia and the concept of central bank, Alexander Hamilton, who came up with this whole central bank concept over in the US, this concept is unique to the US because, like, for example, the Bank of England is owned by the UK government. The Central Bank of Liberia is owned by the government of Liberia, like you just mentioned. But the central bank, the 12 Federal Reserve districts in the US, they're actually owned by the national banks in each district. So it starts from District 01, which is Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, to District 12, which is FRB San Francisco. They're owned by those banks. Well, they have shares in it, right? So you can't say that, or are you saying that it's okay for a CBL governor to sit in place for months while an impeachment goes on, while the country suffers because of bad economic policies? Is that what the argument would be?
So let me bring you back to speed. When Donald Trump was being impeached twice in the United States, was he removed from office while being impeached? The process of impeachment is not a legal proceeding; it's a political will. So we cannot circumvent that because he need to be impeached, it will take processes and he should be removed. Again, let me just say this: my argument is not based on the formality or anything. That because he's from the CDC, he's from this party, the fact it should be in conformity with the law. Everyone, today, the legislature cannot be removed by the president. Any of us could be impeached by ourselves, meaning a member of the legislature can impeach a member of the legislature. The president cannot wake up on the morning and
say, God, the legislature. No, but you're going somewhere where the question is not going. The legislature is an independent branch. The judiciary is an independent branch. The bank is. Give me an example of a state-owned enterprise.
Chief, I come in there. Let me go to the judiciary. It's a different branch. But the president is the one that appoint all of the justices on the bench. He appoint them, and they are confirmed by the deputy of the people because he appoint them. He has the power if they created issues that is disgraceful to the office of the justices, the president has the right to suspend them. I would say no. The same way I come in there, the same way the auditor general, the chair of the LCC, because we want them to function out of no fear interference. That's why we gave them 10 positions and we laid down the procedure in which they can be removed, that they cannot be influenced by any decision.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Real quick, Lou, if I would end this real quick. You see, you've been giving me examples of independent branches of the government, but you haven't given me an example of a state-owned enterprise because the central bank is a state-owned enterprise, and you said it, not me. You give me an example of the judiciary. You give me an example of the executive. You talk about Donald Trump. You give me an example of the legislative. That's fine. You haven't given me an example of a state-owned enterprise. But again, I don't want to beat this. I was just kind of thinking about it.
Again, I may not be familiar with your name again. And all the state-owned enterprises are stands to be corrected, but there was none of the state-owned enterprises given attendant positions by us. We thought it was in our wisdom as members of the legislature that those institutions that run a critical decision on behalf of the country, that the IAA, the GAC, the FIA, the LITI, the LCC, the CBL, and maybe one or two should be given a complete independence. That's why if you read the act that created them, we gave them operational independence. Under the operational independence is where they have these tender positions and this. We gave them financial independence. Like the GSC, they have to have allotment twice a year. The beginning of the year, in January, they should be given 50% of their allotment for the year. By July 1st, they should be given 50%. That they shouldn't be running to Ministry of Finance for allotment to conduct an audit. Then the LCC also, they should be given an allotment on a quarterly basis. They apply the beginning of the quarter or the end of the first quarter. For the second quarter, the entire amount for the second quarter to be pulled into their account. That if they are to prosecute someone, they are not to be waiting for budget to be prosecuted, to be processed before they take money to go to court. We are all Liberians. We want Liberia to go the right way. We are not saying, like I said on this show, the issue involving Minister Tue and former official of government, I support it. because the FCC conducted an investigation into specific transactions, the 1.something billion and the 500,000. The FCC found all evidences that lead to corruption that they could prosecute them. I would not come on this show or go to any public platform to say I condemn the FCC. But in the case of GSE audit report, the law that created GSE, they can share. I think, and Toga, go back to the ad that I share with you, read section 4 up to G. It laid down the procedures in which the GSE, when they have conducted their audit, where it can be submitted, how the legislature can treat it. They have procedures. So
okay. Thank you so much, Honorable. I appreciate your time. Back to you, Adolfo.
I think so. Emmerich, we'll hear from you because Emmerich, you just joined us, right? Emmerich, let's Dr. Peabody, are you up?
No, you go
okay. Emmerich, go ahead.
No, I'm going to play the devil's advocate too. All right, on the whole issue. I listen to
finance guys coming here.
Right. No, I listen to.
All the finance guys have been devils today.
I listened to Honorable Clarence, his point with the interference of the GSE's report. Right. I think I've been writing on it, and I said President Bouaga is in error because the GSE does not report to him. The GSE is independent, is autonomous, so he cannot speak on their report because they have a process. Right. Once he starts to speak on the report, then he's politicizing the issue because he has no authority. They are far away from him. He should not even be speaking on the report. This is not to say that I'm in support of things that were done by the previous government.
The GFE serving copy to the president.
Yeah, but even if the serving copy is just for him to read, it's not for him to even talk about it. So if he's saying, right, if he's saying that, we're going to witch hunt corrupt people, and so based on the GSE's report, it's a form of interference. His opinion is different from an ordinary person's opinion. Let us be clear about it. The way the presidency, the office of the president has is different from an ordinary person discussing it. So if he wants to do tit for tat, then he bring it in the whole issue into politics. And you cannot bring that report, you cannot politicize the report, because when it comes to audit is not meant to go and say, let me go and catch criminal. Once you have the preconceived mind to say, my audit is to catch criminal, then the integrity of the audit is wrong. You cannot. Audit for so many reasons: compliance, audit for productivity, audit there to strengthen the system if there are lapses, audit there to put in controls, audit there to make recommendations for loopholes, and so when you see fraud, the potential risk, audit there to manage risk. So we can't make any big deal issue of this audit and think that the report from the audit can be used to just prosecute. That's wrong. You can't do that because in most cases, 99% of the time, I will tell you this, forensic audit is used in prosecuting. The court, that's the report that's permissible in court for prosecuting. You cannot have a report, audit report to say let's strengthen the system, let's recommend, let's do those things that were not done, like receipts. You want to have your audit report to see, okay, where were the lapses? We don't have the transactions to show receipts to those transactions. You make recommendations and say, going forward, you should have this, you should have that. I'm not going to the details because if you want to prosecute, now you have to leave from there now and start to do forensic audit, right? Where the judge going to have it in court to say, okay, it pinpoints what date and time and who is held responsible for a particular amount or X amount of money. That's when you can start to speak on those issues. Other than that, the president, his office, I see its entire, the executive branch, right? They are the ones speaking on the audit report a lot. And to me, it's going to taint the audit report. To me, it's going to politicize the audit report. And I think it's wrong. I've been writing on it. I say you should stay away. You should stay clear from speaking on the audit report because that's not his area. GSE does not report. If you look at the act that formed of the GSE, right? The House of Representatives, the boss of the GSE is the House of Representatives. They're where they should be discussing the audit report. And that's clear enough. Nothing else going to tell you that the president is to speak on the audit report is to give his voice on it because they don't report to him. They don't. I don't care about his opinion on the audit report.
So can I come in just to add up to you.
So how is he getting this? How is he even getting this report before the
But
legislature?
this is Toga. I think this is the system, right? Okay, come here. I will let you.
Toga, I want you, if you have the other share with you, please go to 4.2G. It says, I mean, not quote word for word, the report of the Auditor General, one laid before the legislature, shall be debated with the presence of the public officials. So, how do we debate a report when you start to run opinions in the report?
Yeah, but Clarence, I read the report. I read it in depth, and that's why I said, Clarence, that's why I said, because sometimes when you say these things, the education we have when you say these things, you appear to be unapologetic of the previous government, right? That is accused of all these issues, and so we know there were lapses. We know it. We saw there were a lot of transactions in the past, right? That we could not in any way or have the source of income for the way they conducted the business, their personal lives. And so we saw these things. Those are all circumstantial that we can still go through audit and say, you know what, based on circumstantial evidence, they can be held liable too. That's audit. When you look at the court can admit hard evidence and circumstantial evidence. If you cannot produce the source of income and you spend it lavishly, all right, and money for the country.
Or the personal lifestyle.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. If you look at it, if you're a custodian of an asset, right? But then you cannot prove that you were able to buy, for instance, a boat. You don't have the income to buy a boat, but you bought it. It's still suspicious. That lifestyle audit. So we can do those things. But the issue of audit, we don't want to politicize it, as President Bouaka is doing. I say it's wrong. I spoke against it. I didn't have to wait for people to render their opinion on it because it's my field in audit, accounting, finance, and so. So I say it was wrong for him to have his opinion as the president of the country. You can't start to do it because now you politicize the issue. Once you start to politicize audits, you take away the integrity of the audit.
So yes, you're talking about 4.2 F and G is captured there, yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to. I mean, you can look at it again.
Yes. So F says immediately upon audit reports being submitted and received by the legislature with copies to the President of the Republic of Liberia, they should be made public by the Auditor General by including them on the website of the General Auditing Commission. Then G says, in fulfilling its oversight responsibilities, the legislature, upon receipt of the audit reports, shall discuss and debate matters of public interest contained in the audit reports with appropriate public officials in the presence of the Auditor General or his or her representatives.
So these are the procedures before the president cannot run an opinion into any audit report. So this procedure. And now you are talking about a compliant audit that speaks to gross violations or stuff about law. The ASA 400,000 being used as a basis of the Auditor General opinion. You talking about compliance audit, and then you are going and violating law. You the president. You say that man, and there are great violations of law by the corner. Then you violating the act that created. So who doing who now?
There's no violation of this act, Honorable God. The Constitution.
Why you say there's no violation?
Article 56. Listen, Article 2 of the Constitution. Article 2 of the Constitution. It says any law that come in conflict of the Constitution shall be what? Not a void. Article 56 says every official of government serve at the will and pleasure of the president. Article so go back to Article 2 and Article.
No, not every. I think you
misconstruing.
Don't put a God confirm. Who do I appoint about?
No, people.
I think you misconstruing it, people. Let me emphasize on it. When you talk about the Justice Ministry, right? The will and pleasure of the president, but the independent too. That you cannot interfere with their operations like the Justice Ministry. So you're saying that because the Justice Ministry will go contrary to the president's decision and the president's operations is so they're wrong. That's what
you
you
say. Justice Ministry, or I can't what you say, Justice Ministry or the Supreme Court?
No, the Justice Ministry. The Justice Ministry.
The Justice Ministry said, no, the Justice Ministry said the way pleasure of the president.
No, but then you see, this is the way you are confusing it. The Justice Ministry will be nominated by the president, but at the same time too, the Justice Ministry.
The Justice Ministry still serve at the way and pleasure of the president.
No, yeah, but the operations of the Justice Ministry, the judgment of the Justice Ministry.
The minister who can say no to the president.
You can't be
yes. The minister said no, but he says the way and pleasure of the president.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why you have to understand. That's why you have to
let get it. Let get it gets the chance to go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Honorable.
And Pee Wee, you asked a very beautiful question that those that are confirmed by the Senate, who they were appointed by, I would say they were appointed by the president. But let me draw you back. The president appoints every member of the Supreme Court bench, and even including the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. Despite him appointing them, does not give him the power to remove them. So that is clear. Again,
that's again. Go back to Article 3 of our Constitution.
Go
back to Article 3.
We're saying the same thing. Article 3 said no member of one branch or function or perform the function of another branch.
Yeah.
In this case, the report that's before the legislature is why he ran our opinion on.
Yeah, the doctrine of separation of power. But the central bank is in which of the branches?
No, chief. The opinions to validate the report of the GSE is done by the legislature. So report that is before the legislature cannot be heard outside the legislature. That is clear. It's clear. So you can be running your opinion, suspending him. Like I said, I'm not diving in, and he has the power to suspend. He goes to court. But my argument here is you can't be suspending him and quoting reasons from the Auditor General report. He could say you suspended for administrative reasons, for which could be explained by him, but it's not from a report and stating reasons from the report, which is wrong. It's not. I'm not missing my word, and I don't have any means to retry it.
The president is exercising the right of the presidency. Whosoever highlighted this thing, tell the president I wrote this. If I was lazy, I wouldn't prompt the question saying. So I come in, somebody highlight. It doesn't believe I'm strong and firm. That's what they're saying. There's nothing to say. I'm not lazy. So
most of our legal issues, right?
I'm not lazy.
Most of our legal issues, right?
You know what Joe Jara asked me? What's the major crime the president committed to impeach him? I just wanted to respond to him, but I don't have the means to
but most of our legal issues, right, model after the legal issues in America. If you look at Barr, right, Barr came from the Justice the Justice Department in this country, right? What happened? The clash between he and the executive when Trump was the president. Right. Okay, what happened between he and Trump? Trump wanted him to have done certain things. And he objected, right? He objected. He said no. Okay, so when you talk about the will and pleasure of the president, we have to be clear as to limitations too. And then
guys, let provide some guidance. Okay, people watching the show. Okay, now Article 89 does not only establish the named three agencies as autonomous or independent of any of the three branches of government. It also gives the legislature the power to create other similar agencies and add laws for their governance. It goes without saying that the power to add law for the governor of the agency includes the power to say how people should be appointed to head those agencies and how long they can serve in a position and the condition under which they can be removed. In short, for our purposes here, that includes the power to give people who head these agencies tenure. Any interpretation of Article 56 that says the president has the power to remove at his pleasure the tenure heads of the agencies because they are other government officials who render irrelevant the plain language of Article 89 and violate the rule that one provision of the Constitution should not be interpreted as a defeat another provision to render it meaningless. You cannot read one article in opposition of the others. That's not how lawyers read the Constitution. We're people watching the show and they want to dial, so let us.
Thank you, Tamale. And now, why exactly what people doing right now?
No, that's what I'm doing. What I'm doing is
that's exactly what you do.
That person forming an opinion and sent to you read it.
People, you honor mine other agencies.
No,
I've gone through.
I cannot.
I've gone through the central bank report. Like I said, I won't be able to dive into the nitty-gritty of the
Honorable,
report.
you already said you should wait after that we talk about it.
At the end of when we have had our hearing and public opinion, I will sit on this show. I will request to appear.
Can I come in there, please?
Somebody
come Robert.
Thank you. There's a neo-progressive. I'm pitching this.
I'm not the person in show, Robert. So you got to quiet everyone attention so you can give you the time to speak. Don't just pin me. I'm not the only person.
No, I was just recognizing you. The only neo-progressive. I just recognizing you. That's all.
But yeah, the neo-progressive been recognized time to time. So at least you recognize other people.
Oh no, but I want to specifically. But people, you know my man. I want to specifically recognize you. I do it with honor.
No problem. No problem. Granted, go ahead. Go ahead. Our new member.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Robert. When Robert is done, I have Representative Akaris Moses Gray on the phone.
It's good that we have all the financial experts here. I'm not going to embarrass myself because this is not my cup of tea. Okay, and I would not attempt to embarrass myself with all these financial Professor Larry here. You're not invite Emery here. I'm not going to embarrass myself. But I want you guys to make this make sense. I've listened to maybe the neo-progressive can also, because he's the constitutional guy. So here is my thing, right? And I think Professor Larry kind of alluded to that a little bit. The act that created the central bank, the purpose of that act was to ensure that the central bank was functioning independently. And to Mr. Professor Larry's point, that was copied from the Feds. Because even though there are some level of instrument from the executive branch, or some might say the White House, the Federal Reserve, for instance, is not answerable to the president. The Federal Bank or Reserve is answerable to Congress. And there's a reason why they did that. Now, the president has his constitutional power, and perhaps maybe this is where Honorable Clarence and others can come in and say, look, we need serious people in the House of Representatives and the Senate yet, because I think we're playing government. You can attempt to make this the central bank independent, and then yet still have the president, who is the most powerful leader in the entire world in Liberia, basically makes decisions on who he fires and who he hires. The central bank has a board of governors, right? And the act that created the central bank purposely created the board of governors. They make certain decisions with regards to any violation that may come from the president of the central bank. So my question I want to ask the financial experts here is this. And the last time I said on this very platform that you cannot tell me that the president is not aware of these arrests and these things that's happening with the Samotua and others. And the next day, what did he say? He talked about only witches are being haunted, which I thought was a bad, terrible mistake. Because to Clarence's point, you don't make reference to audit report and arrest, especially when that institution does not report to you. And it's not the only purpose of the audit report. So you see how we're playing politics here, and you see why some who are seditious might think this is a targeting thing or whatever the case is. So I want to ask you guys this question. If the central bank should operate independently, I think, in my layman opinion, that the president has suspended this man in error. I don't think he should have done that, because even if there's a cause to suspend him, that should have been in consultation with the board of governors. That did not occur. So when you looked at his constitutional powers and you look at the act of the central bank, he's still in error with the act of the central bank, and constitutionally, this was unconstitutional, because we still don't know why this man was suspended. So the question I want to ask you is simple. If the Supreme Court, Because from all indication, Professor Larry, now we're looking at it from a financial expert perspective here, and you're looking at it from a legal perspective here. I would expect nothing less from the Supreme Court to say, you know what, Mr. President, this man was suspended unconstitutionally, and as such, he should be reinstated. If the Supreme Court renders any other verdict contrary to what I just stated, then the question is, what becomes, or what is the essence of this whole act that created a central bank?
Guys, can we, before one of you financial experts come in, we have former representative Kairos Moses Gray on the phone. He would like to chime in here shortly with the constitutional aspect of things.
Lofa, can you please? I don't want the guy to lose that train of thought. The general should hold on for a second. He on the show. I want the guy to address the question why it's hot. Please, I beg you.
Okay. General Gray, I'm pretty sure you're okay to just holding on for a split second.
Please, General Gray, hold on.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys, go ahead.
So I was playing devil advocate when I was talking to an honorable guy, and the honorable guy was standing his ground. He took, he answered the principles, and I appreciate that. But I want to kind of take a look from where Robert is coming from and why I'm applauding Robert, because the question he's asking is so important, right? In any country, I don't care whether you're the head of the Bundesbank, right? You're the head of the Riksbank, wherever country you're in. If you have a prime minister or a president who can remove or dictate at will what the head of the central bank can do, meaning you can remove him, suspend him, whatever the case may be, without going through the legislature, you are effectively saying you're not running a central bank. You can't do that, because there's a reason why experts have argued, financial economists have argued over the years since the formation of the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913 over here in the U.S., why you can't have the executive branch dictating to the central bank, because they are effectively going to try to maybe lower interest rate to make the economy boom for election reasons, or maybe do some other things. We know this is not the way to go. Why? Because we saw Robert. You can't put, and now the Central Bank of Liberia is responsible for also printing money, of course, with approval from the legislature. You can't put the printing press in the hands of politicians. Because if you have the president be able to, because if you put a central bank governor in place and he's afraid of being suspended, he will listen to what the president is saying and he will follow what the president is saying. That's not the way to go. Robert Mugabe then started printing money because the central bank started printing money because Robert Mugabe wanted to have money printed. We've seen it happen in Argentina. We've seen it happen in so many countries. The legislator needs to come in and either strengthen that law that created the act that created the central bank, or someone needs to take some immediate action. I would have advised President Boyka not to do this, because I think whether, Article 56 of the Constitution allows him to remove people at his pleasure, whatever the case may be, it's just not good for how a central bank should operate. There's a reason why President Trump, with all his threats to Jerome Powell, he never attempted to remove Jay Powell from the Federal Reserve Bank, because it had never been tested in U.S. He didn't want to be the first, because he was going to get shot down, because it was going to weaken the Federal Reserve Bank. And if you weaken a country's central bank, it essentially weakens the economy, because nobody will believe that the economy is as strong as you claim to be, because it's being dictated by politicians. So, Robert, I applaud you, because I think people need to go back and listen to the question you just asked. That is so essential. If you're going to run a central bank, if you're going to follow what the whole theory of what a central bank is meant to do, reduce inflation, ensure economic growth, make sure you have good, stable economy, make sure you have employment, all those mandates of a central bank, then you need to let it be independent and let economists and financial experts come in and create the monetary policies to keep your country, your economy efficient. It shouldn't be dictated by politicians. So I applaud you, Robert. That was an important question you just asked. And Honorable God, you did an excellent job answering my questions, man. I tip my hat off to you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Anybody else?
I have a question for Ember opinion on this. Ember and then Clarence.
My opinion
Because
is
the Supreme Court must decide. It's already at the Supreme Court.
You rather trust the Supreme Court like that?
If they decide any else other than what we expect, then
do you rather trust the Supreme Court in Liberia?
That's the point. That's what I'm asking.
I think the Supreme Court would do a good job because even when what her name Mappy Poison, someone challenged the code of conduct as being unconstitutional or something like that, the Supreme Court said the legislature put certain things within the code of conduct, so they upheld that ruling. So just go to the Supreme Court website. There's a lot of opinions, nothing specific to the central bank because this is unique. But look, I have some faith in the Supreme Court. I think they have some good, decent people in there, and I think they may end up ruling against President Boyka in this instance.
Let me just add on to what Raul Professor Kennedy. If you look at intention, right? Intentions is a lot. So much weight on intentions, right? You come in, you fire him, you bring Samoa from Lofa County, then you bring in Augustine Gafuan from Lofa County, and so we have to look at this thing, and let's be clear about it. It's bad, it's wrong, the optics. So what's your intention? No, but you see, this is the point, right? And for me, I'm not shy. I won't stay away from discussing something like that. When some of us who were hard on former president, we are on the issue of the polarizing or bringing so many people from his tribal lineage, and so we spoke against it, and we made President Weah very unpopular because of those things. But if you look at Samoa too, from Lofa County, then you come and bring Augustine Gafuan. From Lofa County, then you have almost all those key positions in the area.
Internal Affairs Minister.
Yeah, internal. You look at internal affairs, so we can add on.
Give you a long list.
Yeah, there's a whole long list. So the intention, right? Like,
nobody talking.
No, but Professor Kennedy said, right?
Remember that Lofa.
They got Lofa. This is the point. This is the point, people. If you look at all of those things in finance, in accounting, in anything you do in business, integrity. When there's a breach of integrity, you scare investors. They run away from you. When there's a breach of integrity, what's happening? President Boyka does not even understand the breach of integrity right there, right? Once you do that, you're undercutting yourself. You're taking away from you as a person, because those places should be independent. Should stay away from you making decisions over those things. They have the board of governors. They have their own board. Let them decide. Let them be able to figure things out. Like Rabble said, once the president with the political will and power, you come in and start to strong arm people and make decisions. So the question there, yes, if you say you came to fix things that were done, if you came to fix things that were done incorrectly in the past, is that how you go about it? So for me, I don't have to wait to see the end result. I have to speak on the issue right now because he's proceeding in the wrong direction, and we're not going to sit and don't speak on those issues.
Thank you, Emerick. Let me bring
before few seconds before you bring your guest. Few seconds.
Let's just bring him in. He been on hold for. Let's bring him in so the people don't think we're turning this entire platform into Lofa County platform. Let's not do that.
My voice can hurt it, man. Every time I talk, nigga get hurt.
Yes, he's on the line. Go ahead, former representative.
Good
evening to all of you. And I want to appreciate the representative on the show. And some of your panelists talk a very important point about the independence of the central bank. And because of the independence, or to create an independence of the central bank, the legislature ensured in 2020, precisely, it was signed into law in December of 2020, to provide greater independence to the Central Bank of Liberia through engagement with international partners and other experts. That's where the act provided for the executive governor not to be removed by the President of the Republic of Liberia. Any quest for removal on the basis of breach, I'll send you the provision of the law, and I'll send you the Central Bank a copy of the act and those provisions.
Yeah, I have them.
And if there's a breach, the House of Representatives will begin a proceeding of impeachment. And subsequently, the House, if they deem it necessary, the Senate, if they deem it necessary, then they will remove it. So it's impeachment first and then removal. Now, what the law does not give to you, you cannot have. They did not provide an authority to the president to suspend. I'm convinced that at the Supreme Court level, the governor will win, the executive governor will win. It reminds me of the issue of tenure position when people are being removed from tenure positions. And the Supreme Court turned out and said the legislature had the authority. What PUE is arguing that people work in accordance to the will and pleasure of the president, the Supreme Court has struck that down technically. What do I mean by that? The Supreme Court has said the legislature has the authority, though you work in accordance to the will and pleasure of the president, but the legislature passed on the tenure law. That means that the president can just grab a tenure official and just dismiss you. No, that's what will happen. So the president can't just dismiss. He doesn't have the authority time indefinitely to say we suspend you time indefinitely. He doesn't have that authority. And that's where the legislature comes in. Because the thing that is important here is that the GSC Act is very clear that orders are submitted to the legislature, directed to the legislature, and the Public Account Committee presides over the public hearing. So the president cannot act on a report when the legislature has not exhausted that particular order report or certain order reports. So for the president to begin to suspend people under the doctrine of an order report is a usurpation of the function of the legislature. And that's where, Karen, I want to challenge you and the rest of the folks. You have to stand up as an independent body, challenging the authority of the president to suspend the central bank governor. Though you are on recess, but you have leadership in both houses, they have to bring the president to order. Because the president is performing the function of the legislature. Or mayor is suspended time indefinitely, and you appoint an acting for your county. But just for the fact that the president will remove you and appoint, nobody is sending. Not to say there was somebody who had the central bank that is sent to act in the interim. But you brought in another person, appointing them as acting to evade confirmation hearing of the person in the interim. How long will he act for? The legislature needs a law to restrict the president for appointing acting for how long? They need to do that. So, Mr. Guy, you're the head of the PAC committee. How are you talking about there could be an impeachment if the laws are violated? I saw that on the page. I just read it. But I want to encourage you. You have to take the lead. Because if your committee's functions are being usurped by the president can be called to order. And the leadership of the House and the Senate will have to call the president to order. So until the legislature does that, then the legislature is demonstrating a sign of weakness. And I don't think this body should be weak, because this body has gathered men and women who can stand up to the occasion. And I agree with the panelists on the show that because of this, you could even amend the Central Bank Act that the president does not have the authority to suspend. Because the very act says if the executive governor wants to resign, he should notify it. He should serve a notice 3 months ahead. If the deputy wants to resign, they should do that 30 days ahead. That's 3 months ahead. And Mr. Guy, you are there. Even the code of conduct that you were amended. The code of conduct is clear that if appointed officials don't declare their access after being appointed after 30 days, they should be suspended by the president.
Thank you.
That's the punitive measure. That is the amended version of the code of conduct. So I just want to tell the panelists, thank you very much. And at least for my little interposition.
Representative, look forward to being with us on Wednesday. We'll extend the invitation. All right. All right. Thank you.
Look, can I tell you a quick question? Okay. Go ahead.
All right, Pee, we go ahead and then we'll take our guests. Then we'll take calls.
Yeah,
We're
thank
gonna
you.
take
Thank
some
you quickly.
calls and then
To
call
Dr.
it.
Peabody and the rest of the folks, people say Lufa on that everybody laughing, saying, but yeah,
I know.
it's a gentleman. Lufa is a very diverse county, and we need to get things straight here. That we have 6 of the 16 tribes concentrated in Lufa County. So this is not about tribalism, or and then how I want to believe the president is doing.
All yourself
We
a
have the
bassa.
Loma. I come in. We have the Loma in Lufa, the Pere, the Kisi, the Mandingo, the Bandi, the Va, and the rest of that. We have 6 of the 16 tribes. So if the president
all the
is
people
bringing
you're putting
diversity,
are
and
very different.
if the president is bringing in political inclusive something right, to go across to balance the striking process of the politics in the country, I only have problems with people coming. So
You cannot intellectualize Congo, my man. You can't.
Well, we have a tune-in,
we not still answering.
I didn't talk against that process. I support
Oh,
that.
okay.
That's not my thing. But I'm
Right,
telling you,
right,
is diverse and very huge. So that's the reason. It's not tribalism. It's not one tribe in Lofa. I thought
No.
It's not tribalism.
No, but we say,
That's 6.
but
Lofa
we say
will tell you
geographical
the-
balance. When we say geographical balance, right?
Yeah,
you have to be sensitive to on those things, especially looking at our history, right? What happened in the past, we don't want to repeat. And for someone like President Boyka, who came in and said he has so much experience, he has wisdom, he should know our history. He should know the things that held our country behind, or we are still retrogressing. He should know those things, right? So if his intention is to come in and say because Gafua is from the Bandi tribe, he's not Gisi. Samoa from this other tribe, he's not Bandi. But they're from the same region. To me, it's a problem. It's a problem.
It's a serious problem.
It's a major problem. And then you look at if you look at Foller, he's from the Gisi tribe too. Right? He's the chief of staff of the armed forces of Liberia. So my point there is simple. What is your intention to consolidate power in that way that you can have people that are closely related to you in those different key positions? And so that's a sticky issue. And we cannot put a blind eye to it. The Honorable Gray just said, let us not pay attention to the tribe. No, it's important because we got former president, we have for those things.
Thank
you.
Guys,
let's do this.
Right? That's what we are saying right now.
That's
everybody in key.
Because you can't defend the position.
No,
you can't defend it. That's fine.
I can defend it.
You cannot.
All right, guys, let's listen to.
Blogger is a classic example of a tribalist. We said this before. This is not now. He always was a tribalist.
Let's listen to Representative Guy here. Give us a few comment in response to some of the comments that were made, and then we will open the phone lines back home and here, and hear from our callers. At least 10 calls from back home, 10 calls from here, and then we'll give our parting comment and call it a night.
Representative concludes getting late. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, you always welcome back, Representative.
And thank you again. I must admit that the show is interesting tonight. I enjoy the friendly exchange, and I will be much excited to always be on the platform. Well, let's go back to the central bank and its independence. I want to draw everybody's attention. Maybe many presidents have forgotten about what transpired. In 2018, the issue of the 16 billion. If you read the mobile exercise or the mobile and the crew report, how the 16 billion were printed, the resolutions that were given, I was brought into the country, how the mobile exercise was done, 25 million were withdrawn for our reserves, I was mismanaged. It was on that basis, I was member of the legislature. It was on that basis, we sat along with other international partners, to be precise, the IMF, the World Bank, the EU, who were sponsors of this bill and channel to the legislature, and informing and conscious of
many Democrats here.
that during the course of the 2017 elections, there were 10 billions of Liberian dollar printed. To have this independence that the governor cannot threaten by the removal of the president, there should be a total independence that the governors can stand before the president and say, Mr. President, if we do this, there's the economic effect to the nations. If we do this, there's the negative impact it will have on the citizen. Let me just bring you back to 2024. The SRB Bank that I have communication I will share with you and Toga, they have been running around for liquidations of the bank, to liquidate the bank. And they have been back to back with the communication between all that was signed by Minister Tikwa. There was a meeting convened at the mansion, along with all of the board members, all of the executive members of the management team of Central Bank, for which Minister Grisby and Minister Tikwa requested, under the influence that we will only meeting you people if you're listening or you're adhere to our request, that they should provide 8 million to the SRB Bank, not on a repayment basis, but to just take the Liberian people money, 8 million, and give it to the SRB Bank. Again, today is Samoa. Who knows if the laws are violated, the president could call Samoa one day and say, go and print 5 billion, lead the legislature. Is that on the basis of us defending Talu as a governor? It's on the basis of everyone in this country adhering to the law. Yesterday, the public works minister did award a contract to various contractors while the budget was before the legislature. And the PFN law is clear. It says when the legislature fails, the executive should submit the budget by October. By December 31st, the legislature should pass the budget. If they fail to pass it in that time, the executive can use 1/12 of the budget every month of the previous year budget, and it should be spent in accordance with the proposed budget. On this note, the executive submitted the national budget to the legislature on March 14. By April, they awarded a contract on the 2 million. Again, we are not going to be sitting here and say because we love President Bouaka, none of us is against development in this country. None of us is against people being prosecuted of corruption. None of us is against that when people mismanage the trust imposed in them in the public offices, they shouldn't be prosecuted. No. Let me re-emphasize the issue involving Minister Toy. The investigation that was conducted by the LCC, and they found all evidences leading to corruption for which they are prosecuting them. I will not condemn it. I will say thank you to the LCC, but the former ministers or the former official of the former president and President Weah and government, they will have their days in court. They will challenge the investigation of the LCC. These are laws we are following. We cannot interfere into the president mandate. We can say one day we pass the entire budget, the budget is before us. We pass the budget and we say we the lawmakers should be the one to implement rules. We have the power to appropriate. and we appropriate that entire PFIP to the legislature that we should be the one to award contract and give rule. People on this platform will say that we are executing the function of the executive. People will be on this platform in this country will be saying that it is constitutional violation that we cannot perform the function of the executive. Why we cannot perform the function of the executive should not perform the function of the legislature. The report that is before us, like I said, if the president said you are suspended for administrative action, we could be arguing on the issues of the act that created the CBO. But to suspend the CBO governor on the basis of the audit report that is not before him, the law that they be read Article 89. The Article 89 created 3 institutions: the Civil Service Agency, the Election Commission, and the DSC. Article 89 provides that the legislature to create laws to govern these institutions. So the law we created says that the DSC should report to us, and there should be deliberation in this report. The validation of the report to be sent to the executive for execution. You can't look at it and say the GSC report, as raw as it is, that has not been validated by the deputies of the people, can be used as a basis to suspend someone. I would say no, and I have my stance on my point without having any regret on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative God. If you want to stick around, that is okay. If not, you can take your exit at this point.
No, well, before you leave me, I throw the question in. So, Representative God, today, what happened in Monrovia with the police and the CDC headquarters? You have anything to say about that?
Again, I think the chairman of national security, we spoke this evening. He said he's going to make some inquiry as to a setting why they did so. And sometimes, not because I'm from the coalition, I'm an LPDP member. I ran the coalition to get twice, but there were issues that former President accepted, and the opposition enjoyed that confidence, the freedom of speech, the freedom to assemble and made their petitions known to their deputies or the office of the president. We can remember in this country that they see opposition, like the Mo Ali, the Darius Dillon, the Yeke Koluba, name the rest of the guys. They went before the executive mansion and brought pot and coke there. They were given these freedoms. Again, you cannot threaten people. You cannot threaten the peace of this country. The statement made by Gregory Como that I read on news, the press statement that he alleged electing the oppositions that they are gathering to protest. They should be aware that there are many arms in the country. Can you imagine? To be frank, you police director is alleging and informing the public that many arms. So when you have informed the public, when have you notified the public of this? Only because people have requested that they will assemble and protest to raise issues. So the fear in this that tomorrow people could assemble to protest and someone could shoot them and say we elected you people, that there are people with arms. It's threatening with a wave of police violence, like in rehab. It mistakenly, I don't know. They kill a labor who have been the future leader of the country. Few days ago, there was another young man killed in Broadway. Few time ago, young people were killed in Bean Mountain. With a wave of issue, and the police director releasing a press conference and letting protesters that there are people with unauthorized army in this country. Chief, hey man, it's too threatening. It's too different. It's threatening.
Wow.
And we shouldn't take that for joke, because Godfrey is not speaking from the security background. He's speaking from the political background. I can remember there was a time there was issues involving the protestation of some young people calling for Queen Johnson. I think Queen Johnson to be arrested over Joshua death. And Godfrey Coleman was addressing the public. He said, and I quote, "Now that you all know people need justice, but there were auditors who died."
Wow.
Yes, he made a statement. Again, did the Liberian people make this change because they wanted people to suffer them, or they wanted people to redeem them? With this statement being made by public officials, let today Mark Jabate is threatening a lawmaker. They say, yeah, let me tell you, in the 54th, I was a member of the 54th. For every time Yeke Koluba make the statement, there are videos. There are damaging comments Yeke made against President Weah. Inside President Weah murder. These same United Party people were defending Yeke Koluba.
Exactly.
They give Yeke Koluba Sarah Star on their campaign team. They Prophet King today, they are disowning. President Walker need Prophet King on his campaign team. Now, Yeke is channeling the same thing that he did against President Weah for an assistant minister to call a lawmaker and threaten him. And he still had the guts to go on radio. When they to still go on radio and say this to the press. And there's press. I'm hearing that everyone and wanted the change. Everyone there. We have gotten the word that we were here. And again, they were conscious that it so I want to stop there. I think after 2, I want to say to everyone for the opportunity to give up. Our schools are open. Your right, it is your right to ensure that time to be provided to the public through the platform. Not all, except that same time that we cannot have you. Even if we get 2-hour notice, once we have the time to respond to and those spirit. Thank you. Long live the may this you to spread a positive.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you. You were just so impressive tonight. I mean, you engaged the issue professionally, and I think you got thousands of Liberian people that were so excited to hear you. All of them came jumping on. I think you really sent a message to them, and we appreciate having you.
Thank you, Honorable Guy. I look forward to interacting with you again.
Henry, let's take some calls. Let's do at least 4 calls or 5. Let's do 5 calls from back home. We'll do at least 4 or 5 from here, and then we'll call it a night. You've been here long enough.
96 per 1 days is the Renaissance.
We're gonna smoke here. Where are hiding for?
Last 2 Korean pains with outside nation's capital. So to participate on the show on tonight, call 777-28 5961 0777-28 5961 0777-017635. These are the 2 numbers, and they're going to be live here on the closing document. To make a point on issues that we are discussing here, 777-28 5961. Today for our first caller, good morning.
Whatever you did, do it for less than Harbor.
Your name from where you join us? Okay, make your point.
Respect to all of what happened and abroad. Let me say kudos to you guys. And but let's see. It's a work you guys have said. Go to order.
Yeah, man.
rather than
I can't hear nothing though.
You got multiple calls. You got multiple calls coming through and taking away the audio.
Anything that audio taking me, I think I get the phone.
Thank you so kindly. Who that will take more call? 777-017635 777-2859-61. To this caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you guys getting?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ruth. Calling from where?
From Singapore.
Make your point. 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's the photo woman. This is not English.
Okay, go ahead.
Joseph Biden administration. Your country now get over and terrible. So we are getting for freedom to protest in the country. You know, you want facilitation to protest for that right. You don't want anybody to protest for that right. But we have to stay strong. Your country is terrible. Joseph Biden is a bad president. I'm dying to your thinking.
Thank you so kindly. 777-0176-350 will take just two more. Then we'll temp out to the panel. To this caller. Any from where you join us? Oh no, you don't have to hold it down. 0777-0176-35 0777-2859-61. To this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Any from where you join us?
This is the wasn't calling from Takoya.
Jeff wasn't Jeff. Make your point.
Yeah. I want to say thank you for the topic of this discussion. You know, I just followed the topic. I just left it now. You know, you tell it all. Yeah, tell it all. So I want to say this: the city president got to be very careful. Why? If you want to hold it, that is the person to give vote for the policy. So thank you for the topic of this discussion.
Thank you so kindly. It is back to you guys. Because of time, so we can take.
All right. So, guys, the phone lines here is open. If you want to chime in the conversation, we'll open the phone lines for at least about. Let's see. We'll take about 5 calls, and then we will go back to close up our conversation for the day. Folks, welcome to the closing argument. You are following. Great to be here today, our panelists. And of course, tonight, our guest was Representative Gar. So great, guys.
Clarence Gar.
Clarence Gar. Okay. Representative Clarence Gar. So, guys, the phone lines are open. If we don't have any calls coming through, we will.
I call it a day, yeah, time, yeah.
Well, let's take this caller here. Okay, well, our caller hung up. I think it's a good thing. I guess nobody wants to charm me. So, oh, another caller's calling through here. Why are you guys calling me? All right. All right. It's a good thing. I guess it's too late. Both back home in here. All right. Let's take this caller here. Caller, your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you.
Should talk, you know, always talking.
Caller, go ahead. Your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you. Mark, let's hear from you. What's your contribution? You're on the closing argument.
Thank you so much, thank you so much, Lufat, and thank you to all the panelists. Lufat, I just surprised that I've been reaching out to you guys. I'm so much little frustrated that you guys speak up about justice.
Go ahead, we're listening.
Okay, I'm so frustrated that you guys speak about justice, you guys speak about transparency, but to my ultimate surprise, I have been reaching out to you guys about the situations I had with the vice president, Honorable Jeremiah Kuhn, the vice president of the Republic of Liberia. I mean, the vice president has been treating me. He treated me very wrong there. From Liberia. He ran me out of Liberia. He took my property. He used it up to today. The vice president in questions cannot pay pay for my property that he used. He ran me out of Liberia. My sick father left into illness until he died. Up to today, when I try getting up to everyone on this show, more especially, I must say kudos. I must say kudos to how you call him, Mr. P. Biden, who I reached out to. He tried to bring me up on the show, but I understand that Mr. Tumani George is your best friend to this vice president. So for that reason, there was no way that I can come on the show to have my voice heard. And this vice president has threatened my life. He threatened my family. President, as I speak, my family life are in risk. They are honestly at risk. My family, most of them have been fled from Liberia since he won the election. And I really want to come on this show to better explain the behavior of this vice president that he has been treating me. And now I have no peace, and my family are not in Liberia. Things is going wrong. My children are all in the bushes. They are not in Monrovia because he threatened me directly.
All right, caller. All right. So
tell him to come on Wednesday. Tell him to bring it on Wednesday.
So Wednesday, we will make you the guest on here for the first at least 45 minutes of the show, so you can express your grievances with the current vice president. Thanks for calling.
No, wait. I had my own question. So what my nigga do it? What did I do?
All right, hold on 1 second. So Timberlake got a question. Timberlake got a question.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah, what did I do?
What does he have to?
What do money get to do it?
What did I do?
So his question is, what does he have to do with the vice president action towards your property?
Okay. In fact, the man coming on Wednesday. So Tomani,
right. Let's just hold on. Hold on, guys. He can't hear you, guys. Hold on.
Yeah, because everyone listening to the show.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me what have I done to your case?
All right.
I make my way to come on the air to have my voice heard before the campaign and after the campaign. I overheard that Tumani George could not allow me to come on the platform.
So that's Mayor Gossip. You overheard.
No, Timmy did not say that though.
All right. When you come on the show, Mark, we can talk about it.
Mark, you see there?
All right, guys, let's take this caller here. Caller, go ahead. Your name and where you call.
All right. So Mark will be on Wednesday. Let's actually the time, see what he want to say.
Guys, hold on 1 second. Not those of you on the line. Caller, go ahead. Mr. Gonglo, you have to ask. You got the link. You called in the line. Go ahead. Let's hear from you, Mr. Gonglo. Go ahead. Okay, thank you.
I hope we can bring it by maybe a month from now to participate as well.
Okay.
A few comments I want to make quickly. I'm not going to be long.
Go ahead.
One, I want to take issue with the new progressive defense of Bouaka, nepotism and tribalism. This is a practice that President Bouaka has engaged in, and is in violation of the executive law.
After Timalina, new progressive.
You know, the executive law says it did not say tribal representation. Even if we were to agree with the new progressive Sylvester Pew, there are 16 or something ethnic groups in Liberia. And they have I think 21 or 22 cabinet position. So you could still safely have one ethnic group represented in the cabinet, okay? But that's not what the executive law say. So whichever way you put it, whether you got a non-tribe in Lofa, you could still take the non-tribe and still have the rest of the 17 tribe and the 7 or 8 tribe represented.
Thank you.
But he's not doing that. All he's doing is Lofa. You know, we can't replace one bar action with another bar action. President we said you are bringing Suso Southeasterner. Now Braga is just bringing Soso or Lofien. I mean, what kind of thing is that? You know, just for the country does not make progress. You know, but on the other side, the last caller who just spoke about one of our panelists, you know, I mean, that's a serious allegation.
Right.
We have to debate this in our chat room. Because our people are not intended to silence people.
So you think the panel did it?
Hello, can I go get the food there? And I told me I'll grab you.
Oh, now you want to buy a now, right?
All right, guys.
You see,
Let me take it.
Now they hit you.
Take Ben. Let me take here.
Yeah, I can't have
The line here. All right. Go ahead.
Are you like?
If that guy listening would need a picture, tell him to send his picture.
Yeah, Ben, go ahead.
We can do a show for him. Same kind of show too.
You leave. You stay in Mexico and do what?
I'm just calling I enjoy the representative. Pee-wee, my brother Pee-wee. Oh, this Lofa thing is not. I look now for Pee-wee because he has to defend his uncle. It's a traditional thing, but at least the Southeastern, they used to accuse President at least the Southeast were
several counties.
The Southeast was a combination of different counties. You have, I think, 4 or 5 counties in the Southeast. But I want to assure the last caller that I second what Kelabo said. We will institute a board of inquiry to check on Tomlin because this thing is becoming unbecoming. I've received several. I'm bringing tequila for everybody. Tequila for everybody. But it was a great show, guys, and I thought it was a fascinating conversation. One of the things that I thought he highlighted was the issue of the central bank. I like the notion where he said that this is a precedent that has been set, and if this is allowed to go unchecked, who says that the president cannot fire? Any other president cannot keep firing. There's a reason why the central bank is supposed to be independent. There's a reason we amended the National Bank law. I think it was during the Taylor years to make the central bank, and it was strengthened during the Sirleaf and the Weah administration. And that's one thing you got to give the CDC administration. They kept that bank independent. So I think there's a lot of things that we need to discuss. This is good for our democracy, but we look forward. But I agree. I think we're gonna be having a panel of investigation to investigate all panelists on this show who are stepping on the freedom of our people to express themselves because of political interest.
Ben, every administration, every administration ban will take decision.
Thank you, Ben. Let's take this caller here.
Yeah,
I got a caller on the line, man.
Guys. Let's take. We got a few callers on the other line here, guys. Please.
I got one caller. Go ahead, caller.
All right.
Timothy, thank you, man.
Caller, guys, please hold on 1 second. I'll bring you guys in shortly. Timothy got a caller. Go ahead, Timothy.
Let her up. I got a room.
Yeah, Timothy. Good evening, guys. Thank you, man. Thanks for the show. It was fascinating. At least Representative Guy, he had his own, and then at least he was very informative. But look, my new progressive brother here, he is more. He this time around he's a Lofa Solidarity. Nah, he's not new progressive anymore. But the fact that you have a predominantly Lofa government. And now instead of people talking about counties now, rather you're talking about a single county with 6 tribes. So that's okay.
No, man.
Let me tell you this. The precedent for the case people were trying to justify for Article 56 had long been kicked out by the Supreme Court. The precedent had been set by the LTA case. So the president cannot just go unilaterally and then just dismiss these people. That's why he has employed a new strategy of suspension. Because why the court kicked his decision out when he initially dismissed those LTA people. So there's a precedent case already. And that's the reason why. Because here's a scary thing, Timothy and others. If this Article 56 supersede everything that guide the turning position, don't be surprised in the middle of the election, the president can remove the election commissioner. Because why? He had the authority to do that because that's part of the executive. So it's a scary thing that needs to come to a check right now.
This is a creeping dictatorship that is trying to creep into the society again. That was responsible for the war last time. We need to put a halt to it. President Baga is an old man that been around 4 presidents in the country. He need to understand the dynamics of these things to avoid future trouble.
Okay.
But thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caller from 202. Let's start with you. Caller, your name and where you calling from.
Every last call. We got
two. We done got 2 calls on here. Go ahead. Your name and where you calling from. Go ahead.
You know, I was talking about I call October. I know somebody will not allow call the comment shoot. So I want it will not happen. So my brother today in part 2. You try and have, but you're not making it. So we can have I don't even understand what is this. You know, if you don't mind, they want to change. You make your argument like this, you're saying no, it's wrong. Because you're going to support the money. It's not correct. Look at what is happening. They changed the people peaceful. They criticized for 6 years. And you really say, they didn't really care of sitting for you. They protested it. In less than 6 months. They refused it for go on the street. You guys say, they don't want it. They just have to request it. Do you support those things? And I think let's put it or in our engine. What I'm giving one country. You need to get this traveling our country. They need all the this traveling our country. You make it one country and get all of that job, every job, every important job from local country. Every important job from local country. You see my Saeed got 5 countries. Out of 5 countries, local countries. People that go, they got appointment. You don't see anything happen. You take keep a government official, you take about it. Everybody gave us money to pay. What is the name? You know, all the Kedis trying to continue, they make no sense. You preach against it, don't lie with the bill.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's last caller here. 585-54 Caller, your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you, boss man.
A great show, man. I know I came alive, man. It's astonishing what I heard from the honorable man regarding the police director talking about there are a lot of problems in the country. And he is a law enforcer. And you know there are going, why you can't go after those? Those are illegal laws he's talking about. Why can't you go after those people? When you see peaceful people trying to demonstrate, and if they're right to do that, you're going after peaceful people trying to demonstrate. To tell you what is going wrong that they don't like in the country. Instead of you going after those who got guns that you know and talk about. And to my brother Pee-wee and Duke, hey, look, we all from the family. Just stop backing your old man. Pee-wee, you are learning. You understand? You got full education.
Still look out to the man.
You are a gunman, we all know. It was astonishing that everything that do there and talk about PF40 and things, you still wear and vote for the old man. You know that the old man is not capable. But yeah, you still wear and vote for him today. We see you, we see you normal. I don't see you on the show. It's a shame, man. We need to be real for our people. When you are doing wrong, stay in the face of the person and tell them what they are doing is not right. It's about the future of this nation. It is not about us. Our children are coming after us. What do they say about us?
Thank you.
One thing you do at a time.
Duke is not even on the show. Duke is not on here. It's like he what?
It's not about country building. It's about the future of Liberia. We are all Liberians.
Thank you.
So when somebody is doing wrong, we should be bold and tell them, say, look, you are doing wrong. The way you are going about things is wrong.
Thank you.
We all need to stand up to the topic. We can't sit and say, oh, yeah, let me do what we got to do. We said yesterday about a judge that we were proceeding wrong with. We brought an old man into power. We experienced this so-called experience. He's not going to tell us anyway.
Thank you.
Why are you going after Nigerians and taking them from job? You take 2 persons from job and put 2 persons there. That is job
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So to the last caller who actually called earlier, making the accusation against Tamerlane George, if you're still following, please send us your photo. We will like to do a flyer to bring you on Wednesday so that you can share with the public what the vice president did to you and other members of your family. So please go ahead, send me your photo inbox, and we'll go ahead and do the publication for you guys.
We're informed the office of the VP too that he's coming here. And probably he get a PR people won't respond fine, but I mean we're like his office.
Thank you. It was a great show, guys. You guys have a good night. I mean, if anybody want to close, I don't have any closing comment, but I think it was a great show.
I just hope Lufa that you highlight all the other comment that will come all the time. You highlight.
I would just like to say thank you. I would just like to appreciate. I would like